Hello, we're live. Yay.
We're live on the internet. Oh my
Welcome.
goodness. Wow.
Do you guys like adventure? Wrong stream. No,
Wrong stream.
no
No adventure here.
We
Sorry,
don't do
fresh
that here.
Yeah. That's not adventuring's not safe. So safety first, kids. No, let's talk a little bit about what happened last time.
We made our characters.
We did make our characters. And then we got to meet some of our characters.
We saved
An
a
Urbot.
little robot girl
A Herbot.
from
Urbot.
a dude with 4 arms.
Yeah, well, yeah. You guys were hired by a Pasha, a gang leader, to track down this bounty of Cho Tirik, who had abandoned a job and stolen the contraband that he was supposed to acquire, which happened to be this Urbot that you guys managed to save, as you put it, from his clutches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I convinced a bunch of bikers that they could extort the man we were hunting for money for breaking their bikes. Forgot about that. Yeah, I mean, basically, it was us learning the system in a very cool way.
So, one thing we didn't do last time, which I kind of want to just start out doing, just so you guys are kind of like familiar with the system, at least on like how that works, is usually after every session we'd go through and mark XP, which we didn't do last time. So basically, I'm gonna change this to the less intense music. Basically, so your playbook has a specific way to mark XP, which you can find like on your like in your playbook area on your sheet, or sorry, the playbook area in the book. So for example, when you play a mechanic, you earn XP when you address. You'll find it in like bold lettering in the description paragraph. You earn XP when you address challenges with technical skill or ingenuity. And then you also earn XP every time you do a desperate action in that like actions attribute, which we didn't. I think we did have some desperate actions last time. We didn't touch on, but oh yeah, Gabriel had one. Yeah. But either way, so usually after every session, we go through with each person. And I'm not going to go through and say, let's do this for the last session. Actually, now I think about it, because I don't think we're going to play long enough for it to matter that much. But I just wanted to touch on it right now. To say that there's 4 things that let you trigger XP. So you can get up to 2 XP if it like this you hit this trigger multiple times. So I would at least take a look at your XP triggers. So for everybody has the every time you roll a desperate action one, but then you have one that's your playbook one that you could hit twice in a session. You also have one that's just your character expressed your belief, drives, heritage, or background. Like we saw some part or found out something about your character within those kind of realms. Or you struggled with issues from your vice or traumas during the session. Which traumas, if you use up all your stress resource, max it out, your character takes what's called a trauma, which is just kind of like a permanent thing that's then like on that character, which you can see those on the sheet as well. It's like the cold, haunted, obsessed, paranoid, reckless. They get some sort of like permanent flaw. But yeah. So, just so you're aware of what the XP triggers are, and then like once you, oh, is the comp already bad? Yeah.
Oh, that's better.
That is immediately better.
Yeah,
Oh my
we'll see
goodness.
if it sticks.
Cool.
But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe the intake server for Essential's bad.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So yeah, those are the way to just kind of keep those in mind when you play. Like, you typically gain advancement this way, and whenever you gain like an advancement point, you can put it in your playbook advancement, which you'll see those like where you mark XP right above those triggers on your sheet. But you can also put those XP in the like attributes. If you scroll up and look at where you have Insight, Prowess, and Resolve, as you can put XP in those bars, and once you fill up that bar, you can take a pip in one of the skills in that group, if that makes sense.
Oh, cool.
So you can split XP to kind of like focus on attributes or focus on getting playbook abilities. I feel like there might even be another way you can spend XP, but those are the main ones. Cool.
So we're not marking XP right now.
I don't think so. I don't think it's going to come up
Okay.
to where you guys are going to get enough to advance. But if we're playing with the system, we'll still play with it like after this, unless we like decide like, hey, this is going to be a campaign. But anyway,
Sure.
okay. I know I changed my mind in the middle of like giving that explanation.
It's good to know, though.
Yeah. So then we will start. I think I want to set the scene back on the cruise ship, which is docked here on Warren. We see. So the ship is equipped with a brig, a way to kind of keep your prisoners in check. So I'm going to go through each of you guys. I want to know a little bit about the Cerberus and what it looks like for your crew specifically. So I'm going to start with Taylor, Albin. What is one thing that is like something Albin notices every time you kind of like enter the brig, where you guys kind of keep people jailed here for your bounties?
Albin always notices whether the like if there's someone in there, whether
Sure.
they're like if they're sitting in the brig, like how they're standing, what their sort of response to being jailed is. Tries to like read that.
Okay. Is this room set up so that like whenever you enter, you could see like the inside of every cell that's there, basically?
Yeah, I think there's a handful of cells, but I think as you walk into the room, it's like a branching sort of a couple like little halls that lead down, but it's like corner cells basically.
Okay. Liv, how do you feel about these cells? What's a trait of the cells, like how they function or how they hold prisoners in or their size or something like that, that Liv is either maybe specifically that makes Liv uncomfortable at like the idea of being inside them?
They're really small.
Kind of cramped cells.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we see Chotirik inside one of these cramped cells, his arms like kind of all folded inside. Let's see. Wipe. What's one thing that... Actually, Wipe 1 is the Urbot girl in a cell. And 2, do you guys have any specific way? I'll say she's kind of just following behind, like listening to whatever you guys tell her generally. But is there some special way that you guys like imprison Urbots if she is in a cell?
See, it's hard to get too far away from Star Wars, because I imagine the ship to look like the ship from, or the ships from KOTOR.
Mm.
Just like that kind of like everyone's got their own space in it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And kind of like that grungy look and feel. I don't know if our ship is nice enough to be like Mass Effect, kind of like sleek. I don't know, but
Maybe a nice middle ground.
yeah. For the contained Urbots, I think we tie them up on like some sort of like effectively the restraining bolt or the thing on the, what's the name of it in a human being? The brainstem, the
medulla?
Latin term.
The medulla oblongata.
Oblongata, yeah, that bad boy. Like we restrain them there, and it like kind of like how you grab a cat from the back of the neck. It like slows them down so they can't really do anything.
Yeah. Okay.
But otherwise, she's just falling around. She hangs out in my little bunk.
Okay. Yeah, I will say this particular, technically, like personal quarters are its own like hull upgrade that you guys do not have. So you probably sleep in like different corners of the ship that are yours. So there's because there's like a communication room, an engine room, the
I
brig
just sleep in the
itself.
pilot's chair.
Yeah, that's like where
And
the
room.
commonplace.
Yeah, I'll be in the comms room probably.
I'll sleep wherever there's like a metal like mechanic bench. Imagine like a Murphy bed, but out of metal, like just a metal bar with like a chain. Diagonally.
The thing I picture for Alvin is the Firefly, the consort.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
You know,
Oh,
I would-
100%.
It's like
Yes.
the only room in the entire in the entire ship.
With a bed.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like
It's a small
that.
thing, but
I take that.
I need to watch that show again.
Okay. So then, Gabriel. What is the main thing that keeps these that holds prisoners in? Like, what does it look like if you're kind of like looking at one of these cells from the outside? Are we looking through bars? Is there like a force field? Is there some?
Oh, we can't afford a full force field. So it's definitely bars.
Okay.
With different charges that we put in, like depending on what we have in there. If we have an Urbot in there, or if we have a human in there, or some type of alien, some type of Xeno, whatever, it's usually like an electrical charge or something like that to keep them away from the bars. But the problem with the bars is that they're not exactly the amount of part on each one. Like some are just like this one, and some are like really close
They're not
together.
evenly
It's like-
spread out.
It's really annoying. But yeah, but no, it's bars with a mild energy / electrical field that we can turn up and down with the ship's resources, depending on what we have in there. If something is larger in there, or
Yeah. So,
the bigger ships have full on energy fields, but we do not on the inside.
We got an electric dog fence.
In this economy.
Fields, right?
So, I imagine the crew here is all in the brig. You've just gotten back to the ship. You haven't even really talked to your prisoners too much, and I'll say they've been kind of like silent for most of the ride back. But we see you guys all standing around the brig. We see these little cells. The one in front of you with Chotirik, his arms crossed. We hear the hum of the like electricity on the bars.
I'm just gonna pop open the control panel and kind of turn it up a little bit, just looking at him.
It's like a little dial, yeah.
The lights dim a little.
Start flashing a bit.
A little.
I'll work on that.
Yeah, and Cho speaks up and says, look. Whatever the Pasha's given you, I can match it. You just gotta let me out of here.
And what, release you into space?
Question: what is the Pasha giving us?
This is a... Hold on, let me look at our job reference sheet before I
Yeah.
tell you.
I'm gonna try really hard not to make Alvin's voice taco, but it's probably just taco.
It's gonna get there eventually.
Yeah.
It's gonna sound a little bit like that.
I've got to realize I'm not
Listen,
trying to talk my
baby.
way out of everything.
Uh, yeah, so this is considered a small job, basically, because it's a job that was here on the planet that you're on. And Cho, even though he was dangerous, was didn't have an easy way off planet. So it's a small job. Everything, the money in here is kind of like fluid, but it was generally just considered like cred. Cred can take a lot of different forms, but this job was for 4 cred overall. So.
I
feel like that's not a lot of cred. But
sorry, I'll say 4 cred is like what you'd get for a standard or for like a small job. I'll say it's 6 cred if you bring back Cho and the girl, actually. So it would be like a standard job for you guys. So 6 cred. The comparison it gives is it's enough for like a small vehicle or ship module.
Oh,
Well,
it's not bad.
I mean, we did also just get a small vehicle because I definitely swiped his bike.
It's Sotiric's bike.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'll fix it up myself. It's fine.
Yeah, it's definitely damaged, but you can you can do like a long-term project or something to repair it.
That's a fixer-upper.
Cool. So yeah, Cho kind of like offers that deal, basically saying, "Yeah, I might not be able to get you 6 cred, but I can get you 4 for sure."
Well, it's the principle of the matter, Chotiric. Why would we turn you in when we can? Why wouldn't we turn you in when the Pasha offers us money, reputation? What can you give us besides underpaying our efforts?
Well, you feel good doing the right thing. That kid over there is just trying to get away from you, right?
She hasn't said a thing, so we don't know.
It's because you're strangers.
And you're not?
No. We were once, but not anymore. We've been on the lam together. And Cho kind of flexes. Cho is, like I said, he's 4-armed. He's got kind of like purplish skin, flat nose. Blinks at you through these like almost like pure like black eyes.
Well, why don't you start at the beginning, Cho, and we'll see where we go from there.
Well, it was a normal job breaking into a guild storage facility, stealing some, new product. The product was her, but she's not like a regular Urbot. She's smart, has conversations. She's a person.
I take distinct offense to that.
I was gonna say, I point at Wipe, like, he's pretty smart.
Well,
I can hold many conversation.
not like that. I mean, she's got feelings.
Are you implying Wipe isn't hurt by what you just said?
Easy to talk big from behind bars.
As he says that though, I do look at Wipe and I'm like, is he bullshitting? What's going on here, buddy?
Wipe kind of sulks, and instead of just like I'm assuming all of us are just kind of like standing in a row, like just looking at the guy. Wipe just kind of like sulks and like walks a couple of feet away and leans up against the wall, arms crossed, looking at the ground.
Oh,
Eyeball face
poor
pointed
baby.
towards the ground. I don't know.
By the way, I'm leaning up against one of the walls and just throwing a ball back and forth about the
Okay.
ball.
So you hear that thud of the ball is where the conversation's going.
Is it possible for me to see if I could hook up his bike? Because I'm sure there's some energy left in it. To the door to give it a little extra boost without draining the ship. Can I break that, maybe?
Sure. I mean, what's your goal here? Is just kind of like
Just to take off the strain on the ship, at least for a little while.
Sure.
did-
Yeah. I won't even make you roll for that. You kind of
Yeah.
like spend a few minutes like plugging it up, and like the lights kind of brighten up a little bit.
I love how we made the negative on our own, and you're trying to do things to get rid of that negative that we made up on our own.
Yeah, well, you know.
It's a junker. But
Yeah,
it's
but
our
I
junker.
like the idea of like you
Wise.
having to like pull some panels out or like plug up some wires, and you have like these just kind of like showing the quality of the crew's equipment, where they're trying to like charge up the cell with a random bike that they stole.
Acquired.
Acquired.
Yeah.
He wasn't using it.
So, yeah. But Cho's like, yeah, but she's trying to get to a group of other Urbots. Said they would be able to protect her. Called themselves Conclave 01. I was supposed to be trying to find a ship to Baptima, but well,
Two things. Three things. Four things. So many questions. Where are we now? What planet are we on?
you're on Warren, the capital of the Procyon sector.
We picked up. Okay, perfect. We picked up. Old boy at Warren. Where is the Pasha? Where do we drop him off?
Port Pasha is also on Warren. You guys are still docked on the planet right now.
Perfect. So we go to a different place on planet to drop off old boy. Baptima is where he was bringing the Urbot. And then, even though wipe has been wiped a lot of times, is there any errant knowledge of Conclave 01? It's great because in meta I have no recollection of it. Neither does old boy. His wife. I don't think there's a history check. What would come?
I'm gonna say which you could tell me how. I feel like you've probably versions of you have run into them in the past.
The backstory that I had come up with was that he was originally like up there,
yeah,
within them, but just like taken, wiped a bunch of times because of either some dangerous something or something that you can run with.
Yeah, so generally I will say you've probably heard about them on like Urbot related feeds as like rebels or like errant Urbots basically that are like malfunctioning and think they're real like free people kind of thing. And yeah, they're known to kind of like occasionally attack like mining sites and stuff like that.
Okay, cool.
So they've been known to especially target which guild is it? Not Starsmiths. Fuck. Oh, the Guild of Engineers are the ones that typically are the ones that wipe Urbots and kind of control. Like most Urbots have to be registered with the guild and stuff like that. And you're supposed to bring them in once a year for them to be wiped. And but yeah.
While thinking about it, while grumbling up against the wall, he kind of grumbles a little bit, but it kind of just sounds like when you're like loading files off your computer, so like the disk starts spinning really hard. you know that as wipes just like thinking like kind of noise.
So who hires you to obtain this Urbot?
You'd have to ask the Pasha. I got the job from her.
Is this the same Pasha or a different Pasha?
The same one.
The same one? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see the situation now.
Yeah. Two jobs from the same.
She tasked him to get her, but then he bailed.
Yeah.
And we were sent in to clean him up. Gotcha.
And does our Urbot guest have a name? Sorry, John.
No, you're fine. I was about to make one up, but I was like, I think it has one, so I'll like try and use the one in the book. But let me. double check. She might not have one at all.
second.
All right. So. He kind of like looks at her, like hesitant to actually like give her name, and she speaks up and says, "My name is Lasher."
Lasher.
Lasher. Is that an occupation or a title?
Do you ask her?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She says, "It's a moniker given to me by the guild for, well, in reference to my abilities."
What are you capable of, little one? I'm gonna play around with the voice. I'm just gonna try different things here and
That's
there.
fine. Yeah, she kind of like tilts her head sideways, and she looks very human. It's very easy to forget that she's not like a human, because she looks very much so like one. But she kind of turns her head to the side and she says, "I'm not sure that it benefits me at all to reveal my abilities to you."
You are on our ship. You are in the cold reach of space. Urbot does not survive well in cold space. It behooves you very well to comply.
I would assume the Pasha is interested in me as cargo, therefore you tossing me into space would be a loss of wealth for you. And looking around at your surroundings, I do not feel that you are the type of crew that can risk such a loss.
I mean, to be fair, darling, you're only worth 2 cred.
Little bot, big mouth, Chip.
Now, Lasher, we are nothing if not amenable. We can be reasoned with. We only want to know who we would represent.
Would you be willing to entertain taking me to the Husk, which is another name for Baptima?
Well, you know,
So-
what's the point? Like, why do they want you? Why should we take you there? Why are you special? Like, you have to give us some information for us to give a thing like that.
The conclave is of independent sentient Urbots like myself.
So,
Gaining, I'm sure they would be thankful for you returning me. Or not returning me, but taking me there.
So, theoretically, we could turn in show, lie about having secured the Urbot, and then go to Baptima.
Theoretically.
I think perhaps I defer to Wipe on these matters. The ethical standpoint of a free-thinking Urbot being turned in for whatever purposes. Do not feel I am in a position to make that decision.
We're in a bit of a pickle.
God, yeah, we sure are.
Wipe, your voice changed again.
This is how I've always talked. It's time to wake up.
Do that's very funny. Do we know what the punishment for, like, if we turn Cho in, what sort of things would happen to him?
You know that with the criminal organizations of the Pashas, he probably would not live through the punishment.
Okay.
I mean, that's fine.
He'd probably be made like an example of.
Interesting.
What would happen to us for not retrieving her or turning her in?
I mean, if they bought that you never
she
found
got
her,
away.
then there'd be nothing. I mean, they would just not be as impressed with you.
Guys, I don't want to disappoint them.
Extracurriculars are a dime a dozen. As long as we accomplish our primary mission, who's to say we can't do what we want with the spoils?
Up to you, boss.
Is that me? Am I the boss?
You're the boss. You've
Oh
always
my
been
God.
boss.
I just really like to shoot things and fly things around really fast. So I'm down with really whatever that we do.
Gabriel, how fast can you get us to Baftima?
It'll take you a couple of days.
A couple of days, okay. And so
Thank you.
Baftima is in the same system.
Mhm.
How, it's probably irrelevant, but I'm curious. How does inter-system travel work?
Yeah, so we have massive technology, these massive rings. Then I can't remember the in-game term for it. But it's basically these large rings that bend space between 2 points that lead to like the outer systems. And so these, even though we can't recreate these rings in the Hegemon, we have learned how to use them. Very similar to like how Mass Effect technology used the precursor stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and okay. They're usually run by the military, and they're like checkpoints and stuff like that you have to go through. But yeah,
I guess it's lucky that it's in system then. I think whatever we end up doing, I'm sorry, Cho, but we have to keep up appearances.
Cho just kind of like rolls his dark inky eyes and is just like leans back, just like, well, at least get the girl out of here, all right? Pasha's just gonna sell her back to the guild.
A vicious cycle indeed. Did you say something, Steven?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not. I didn't.
I mean, unless anybody has any objections, I think that we go turn Cho in, try and hide Lasher, take her to Baftima, see what this is all about.
You're the boss.
I'm inviting your feedback right now. If you have any issues or ideas for the plan, I would love to hear them.
All right. Yeah, is anybody against that plan?
I don't really care.
Do we trust the girl to... It's too heroic all of a sudden. Do we trust the girl?
Do we trust the girl?
I really can't figure out this dang robot voice.
Oh, that was good.
Do we trust the girl to stay on the ship and be hidden while we turn in Cho?
At risk of being turned back to the guild?
I mean,
in
I could
prison
stay
for the
with
rest
her.
of her days?
If we were able to find him and her, then they might have the technology or ability to find her as well. If they find her on our ship, it will not look good.
What if, perhaps, then, Liv, you were to take our honored guest somewhere else, just in case they decide to search our ship, and then we send you a sign when all is clear.
Just gonna look down at her. You ever been to a repair shop?
I was created in something similar.
Oh, you're gonna love it. You know, we're gonna go to my dad's shop. Don't even worry about it. He's probably going spare right now because I sent all those bikes over to him. But let's go see my dad.
Probably go in spare. Oh my god.
She kind of just like shrugs and says, "Okay."
We're gonna
Gave me
go.
away.
All right. So we'll cut scene here as you kind of like take her away. We see you guys talking to the Pasha, right? Because now you're turning in Cho. We want to get paid. So we cut to the scene where we're in like this looks like almost like a bar of some sort. There's obviously like smoke in the air. Actually, there's like music playing in the background.
Very important question / distinction. Did we have this conversation about us lying to the Pasha in front of Cho?
Oh shit.
Yeah, but he seems more concerned with that you guys are basically willing to go along with it because you guys are taking the girl somewhere.
Right, but he's willing to die just to be like, all right, fine, turn me in and kill me for 4 whole credits as long as you get the girl off.
Man, Cho's
I mean,
a good guy, actually.
You know, I almost feel bad for what we're doing to him.
No, that's
It's okay. He's got 2 extra arms. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Also, do we have a story for why we don't have her?
She ran off.
That's it.
Or
She almost got away, so.
He almost got hit in traffic. I have the skid marks to prove.
I was thinking instead, why don't? Well, I was thinking instead, like, why don't we, like show, like, say that she was destroyed and like give her like one of one of Wife's spare parts. What would work really well, like a hand or like a back plate or something like that, maybe a foot. I think it might work pretty well. Or not? We don't have to do that.
She's very
No.
clearly of a different make, like shiny new little versus Wipes old beaten
No, we could
down.
smash
Like
it up a little bit. It'd be fine. I was just saying that it might be another way for them to like even stop looking for her, as opposed to like continuing to look for her.
Liv,
But
could you,
I've never been.
I was
chased, so
about to
it's
say,
not,
just pulls off her mechanical arm. Need
I
a
was gonna
hand?
say, jeez. Liv, could you maybe snag a couple pieces that might look like they had fallen off of our friend here from your father's shop, just in case people come asking?
Gonna look her over. Yeah, I could see what I could do.
Just buff out the rough spots.
This feels vaguely racist. Saying all us Urbot look alike.
Now
I'll
that's
be right
why
back.
I'm sizing
Sorry.
her up.
I just need a second. 1 second. Sorry.
There's
So
a reason I'm looking her over.
We get like maybe a cutscene of like where everybody at the garage like changing hands with like some busted like old droid parts or something.
Yeah, take a couple hammers to it, maybe a couple like blaster shots.
Add some scorch marks.
Exactly.
Hold it up to the wheels of one of the bikes that's up and just have the bike go. So it looks like it got run over a little bit.
All right. So I think we'll need to
You
wait
know,
for Albin because he'll probably be doing the talking.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, someone else doing the talking feels good.
Alien nightclub. The like weird like
Yeah, there's lots of
noises.
Xenos here, and even Arlox, the Pasha you're going to meet, is a Xeno herself.
When anytime that you
Is a
describe
Xeno,
show,
is a Xeno a single race? Or
It's
is
just
it
like it's just like a non-human race, basically.
okay.
which I mean, we're playing humans, so it's kind of just it goes with it. But there are a lot more of them than there are to us. Like we're the aliens, if you really fucking think about it.
Well,
Come on.
humans are still a very common race among the hegemony and control. Like all the noble houses are humans.
They're still the invasive species.
Wild. Yeah.
So
That's, do be true though.
yeah, most of the Xenos tend to sometimes become like second-class citizens on some planets, but
Oh, that's so sad.
man.
What about their planet?
Hello, I'm back.
Well, it just kind of depends on the Xeno. I mean, every Xeno probably has a different like relationship with the hegemony, and some of them don't even have like planets anymore. They're just kind of chunks of Xenos. So yeah. Speaking of Arlox, we're inside this nightclub. You guys are kind of led back to this large booth where Arlox is sitting with a couple of her bodyguards. And I just want you guys to tell me like one thing about Arlox that each of your characters notice. Starting with Gabriel.
He should define what's Arlox again?
We just
That's
said that
the
she's an
podcast.
alien. That's all. Yeah, she's
Oh.
the leader of this gang, so she's like a gang leader.
I noticed that she's got some really big muscles, and I don't know why her right foot is bigger than the rest of her other appendices. So
Just her
kinda
right
weird.
foot.
just
Okay.
her right foot, and I don't really know why. But that's really all I can focus on, and that's all I can. Besides, just like the refinement of her features, and yeah.
Okay. And she's just like a very muscly Xeno of some sort.
Yeah.
All right. I like that. So yeah, she kind of like leans back, flexing a little bit. What about you, Wipe?
She has a lot of tattoos.
Mm.
And she's probably currently sitting there getting tattooed as we're talking to her.
I like that.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say she had like Yakuza style tattoos.
I was
Yes,
gonna
like
say
almost
full-on
full
Yakuza.
blown. But in my memory banks, I see that she has like a symbol like right here on her left arm, just above the elbow, in a long dead Kandorian language that she thinks is a cool symbol that thinks it means like honor over family, but it actually says like shrimp plate.
I was gonna say egg drop soup.
Just the
Nice.
wrong fucking thing. And I
Yeah.
say nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Okay. Yeah, so she kind of flexes. There's like a man there kind of like using this little like laser tattoo gun to like as she has one arm on the table, just kind of like pinning in some free space there. She's got like her extra large leg like up on the table as like leaning back as she does this. Yeah, Liv, what about you? What do you notice?
I'm not there. I thought I was like
Oh, yeah,
at the
that's-
shop
That's fair.
with.
What have you heard?
You're running
Yeah, but-
diversion.
What is one you've met Arlox before? What is something that like if we what is something that about her that kind of sticks to Liv's memory?
She's got dope Liberty spikes.
Alright.
Custom character from Tony Hawk's Underground.
Alright.
Incredible.
I can't decide if they're pink or orange. I think they go orange to pink.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
So she's got Liberty spikes made out of some hair-like substance that kind of like changes colors as it goes from front to back. Okay. Albin, what about you?
Leaned up against her makeshift throne, as it were, is a giant, like, spiked club Like
Hmm.
think like the like Japanese oni like clubs.
Okay.
It's
It's like her
as
signature
tall.
weapon.
It's her signature weapon. It's like as tall as she is. She just hefts it up and just starts swinging. You know, when she's angry, she'll fuck you up, dude.
She's
Okay.
angry.
But that's
So-
like her signature.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna say she kind of like looks at you. She has like like a set of 6 eyes, 3 on each side of her face, that all move to watch you guys as you approach. And she kind of shifts, and she's like, "Oh, you brought Cho back to me, I see."
Why, of course. We always live up to our promises.
But I do not see the how do you say package?
It is truly unfortunate, but there was quite a scuffle, if you will, outside of the bar where we found Cho. The biker gangs there, perhaps you're familiar with them, created quite a ruckus. There was a big fight. Bikes were destroyed. The Urbot was quite damaged, to be honest, and I think taken away before we had a chance to do anything with her. Salvaged for scrap, I'm sure.
I suppose you get what you pay for. Okay. Take him. And she kind of like moves to like waves to one of her security guys, which are both like these big, kind of like reptilian, like bodyguards with kind of scaled skin that each kind of like move up and move to take Cho from you. And she says,
Sorry, 1 second. Something weird happened with the stream. I'm just gonna see if that fixed it. That fixed it. Okay, sorry.
no,
All the cameras just disappeared, and I got very scared. It's back. We're fine.
Oh, Reaper.
what are you barking at, baby girl?
So angry.
So terrifying.
She doesn't like that we're lying.
Okay.
I'm embellishing.
Stretching the truth.
It's a
So
little white lie.
yeah, she says, okay. So go ahead and oh yeah, she'll even say, she's like, did you recover? Did you put the part out, or have you kind of revealed that yet? Like the parts you got from the garage, or are you here for that? You got fake Urbot parts.
Yeah. We
Mhm.
pull those out
Okay.
to show, like, to sell the story.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a sway roll here, Alvin.
Sure thing.
And if somebody wants to spend stress to help, they can. This is a controlled roll.
Okay.
Or do we have the same amount of stress as last game?
Mhm.
I'll take
no.
the stress since I was the one finding the parts.
Okay. Like kind of like as your way of saying that you
Mhm.
took some extra work selling it. I'll take that.
Standard effect.
Yeah.
And then +1 from that. Let's see what we got. That's rough.
Okay. So
That's controlled at least. Not the worst thing in the world.
she kind of like you tell her this, she looks at the part, looks up at you, but doesn't say anything. And she's like, well,
Can I resist?
oh yeah, you can resist. Yeah, you can tell like I'll say you can tell she doesn't quite buy it. What she's gonna do, you're not sure, but she doesn't
Yeah.
seem to.
I assume that the always know when someone is lying to you also means when I know that someone's like omitting something. But
Yeah. That works. So yeah, she's like, oh, I see, but you could tell like she does not believe you guys that you do not have this Urbot. But yeah, you can resist that some way if you want.
What would that be? So it's just like a different roll again.
It's a resistance roll. You can kind of just say whatever you're going to do narratively to kind of fix this, and we can kind of decide on what resistance roll that would fall under. Is this just like a follow-up lie, or is there like?
So who held them out? Was it Wipe?
Yeah, I probably carry the arm.
Okay. My resist will be I will look at Wipe and I'll say, "Are you sure that you grabbed the right piece? I know there was so much damage during the escape, but surely you would have known at least to have grabbed the right piece of the right Urbot."
White looks down at the arm and he says, "In retrospect, there were 3 other Urbots in the pile up. I might have made a grave error."
Pasha, you must excuse him. His circuits are so addled.
So this sounds like a resolve roll, since it falls into those like kind of sway consort kind of things.
Okay.
So
dim my eyes a little bit, turn my head down, and do a soft little.
So yeah, you can just click on resolve on your sheet, and
Sure.
I think it should.
Let's see.
Hog.
6 stress. So you'll take 1 stress, which is not bad
Sick.
to resist.
Mm-hmm.
So you do that. You can see the Pasha is like kind of like now a little uncertain of her estimation. She's like, disappointing, and seems to kind of like let it go and move on. And she says, well, your credit as promised. And she moves over the small little like data chip, and she says, 4 cred in cryptocurrencies.
Fucking cryptocurrencies.
No.
Always cryptocurrency.
That
Makes
is
sense.
worth 6 billion in Urbucks.
Do we each take 1 cred on our sheet?
You can do that. The ship also has like space for cred, but if you want to, like an easy way to split 4 cred is just to take it 1 between each of you.
I mean, I think that's reasonable.
I have 1.
Where do you put cred?
It's under your like inventory, under armor, heavy, special.
Above stash, the bunch of boxes.
Mm-hmm. So you can only hold like 1 cred at or up to 4 cred at a time on your person.
How much is a cred worth? Jeez.
A lot.
I am a rich man, but
Yeah, dabba diba.
Yep, dabba diba.
So yeah, normal spending money like buying drinks or like the stuff you need to fix your and repair your equipment and stuff like that generally is just hand waved. Cred is like big chunks of money for that you're kind of like using for important things, actually.
Sure.
Or is what's supposed to represent. So yeah, you guys each take a cred from the job, and with that, Arlox is just like, now go. I'll let you know if I need any other work from you.
It is always a pleasure to work for you, Pasha. Alvin does it like a hugely ornate, like completely inappropriate bow. Grabs a wipe and says, "I can't believe you've let this happen again." Drags him away.
Yeah, we see you guys kind of like walking away as like the tattooer just keeps working in the scene. Kind of cuts from there. She looks down at the tattoo. Cool.
my deception circuits need a little bit of a tuning.
We can have Liv tune you up when we get back to the ship.
I almost did not catch your circuits churn for a second. Drift.
Look at you, you're learning. You are like a learning computer, you are.
So, I will say there's like one scene when we kind of like cut to the garage. And Liv, like, what is this garage? This is like mostly. Is there one type of thing that you kind of see more of than anything else? It looks like the garage's specialty.
It's mostly just it's almost like a repair shop.
Yeah,
For us,
it's
it's a garage. It's where we fix cars or
yeah, like vehicles and stuff like
Yeah.
that usually. Cool. Yeah, so we see like a lot of that. I just wanted to have like one quick scene where you guys are like maybe sitting beside like a register or console computer that is used for this. And you just see Lasher kind of like look at the console a moment, and you can kind of like see it start moving through like commands and stuff. Almost as if someone was using it.
kid,
Ooh.
leave the computers alone.
She kind of like looks a little like slightly chagrined, a little scolded, and kind of like looks down, and she's like, sorry.
Look, you want to help? There's 5 bikes over there that still need to be fixed. You want to help? Go help over there. I'm gonna go back to working on whatever vehicle I was on.
Yeah.
We have
She-
5 bikes in the hangar.
It's her dad's shop.
Her dad's
My
shop.
dad's shop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think like you go back to working on and she kind of like gets up and looks over at the computer, and all of a sudden we see like models of bikes as if she's like downloading them basically.
Oh,
Uh,
God, dude.
Just ask
You
for
wouldn't
help.
download a bike.
Before she kind of like picks up a tool and begins like moving over to the bikes.
This feels like a reference to something. Like, I feel like I've seen this scene before.
But yeah, so then we cut back to the ship as you guys kind of like you've all got your payment now. Oh, actually, now that we've done payment, we move to we need to go through our phases here. Okay.
Now we go to the vice phase.
Yes.
So we got payoff. We do upkeep right now. The ship at this stage has a 0 upkeep. It's based on like your system qualities. You can kind of like upgrade the systems of the ship, but starting out, it's low enough quality that you guys don't have to actually pay any upkeep to keep the ship moving.
Have we talked about anything about the ship yet?
We have such a junker.
Aside from the brig, and then it's a piece of shit. No.
Yeah.
But it's our piece of shit.
It's our piece of shit.
Yeah, usually you would spend some time kind of like going in and creating it and stuff, but it can take a lot of time, and it involves like choosing factions that might be relevant for like a longer campaign. So I just kind of pick some stuff for you guys for a more kind of standardized Cerberus ship.
Cool. I just feel like I should know about our ship. So
Yeah,
that's why I asked.
there is a ship sheet that kind of lists some of like what you guys have on hand as far as like systems. So you guys for the Cerberus crew, one of the big things you have is you have a long range scanner, which lets you kind of like detect other ships and stuff like that. And you also have a Nexus link, which is basically like a permanent internet link on your ship, which is pretty rad.
Hell yeah, dude.
But for like, so you can kind of keep up with the latest bounties and that kind of stuff.
Is it like
And
fiber?
also my stories.
Is it like fiber? Is that what you just asked?
It's like fiber internet.
It's like Wi-Fi, dude.
It's like
I
a
know,
mobile
I meant
hotspot.
I meant is it that fast? Jesus.
It's pretty fast. So it's based on like uses the Ansible system, which is like a complex, also strangely operated system.
Numbers.
But it kind of bounces information in like large packets and stuff to everybody. So you here on the planet, especially, your Nexus link is like constantly updated.
Nice.
Like a Twitter feed in your head.
Oh
Ugh.
God.
Terrifying. I hate that.
Next, we talk about the heat. So after the conflict with an opponent, your crew takes heat according to how the job played out. So generally, and this is up to you guys to kind of decide, though I will kind of like give my input. But 0 heat is completely quiet. 1 heat is smooth and quiet. 2 heat is contained. 4 heat is loud and chaotic. 6 heat being wild, devastating exposure.
I feel like it should be a 3, but I feel like we covered up enough for it to be a 2.
Yeah, anywhere
Yeah, I think
from
2.
1 to 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say
broke a lot of stuff.
Contained.
I did some crazy maneuvers.
Yeah, so keep in mind, like, you can be kind of generous with it because you guys are also licensed, which automatically knocks off 2 heat. So if you have a contained job, that's kind of like would be standard with.
I would say 2 or 3.
Negative
I
2.
would really say 2.
Yeah, so
I-
it's
I
2
don't
heat is
like
contained.
my original-
4, it goes up to 4 heat after 2 for like loud and chaotic.
So is it heat just in general, like with anyone, or is it heat within like in reference to like a GTA police slider? Is it?
It is with. It can be with anyone narratively,
Okay.
whatever kind of like makes the most sense. It's just generally like you're kind of rubbing the wrong people, and so it can be police, especially if you're doing lots of criminal activity. But it could also be gangs or something like that if you're kind of
The
pissing off those, or
bikers are
guilds.
pissed.
Yeah, they were pissed, but we handled it because we had them
Beat
kick
up
the
Cho.
shit out of Cho, and their bikes are
was-
getting
yeah.
fixed,
Yeah.
and they
There
have
was less than a
alcohol.
dozen blaster bolts that were used in the
Yeah.
entire fight.
There wasn't actually a multi-bike / car pileup. There was just like a fender bender, maybe because of our grav bike antics.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Okay.
it's between 2 or 4, I think definitely contained rather than.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
good to me. So there are also actions that garner additional heat. So there is +1 heat for a high profile or well connected target or the public use of artifacts, which I don't think was really involved here.
We used a blaster pistol. We
Is
used a bike.
the Urbot, is Lasher an artifact? Is that
Technically, but I mean, it's not like you used her in any way
Yeah.
that was like noticeable or that she was.
Okay.
Short of me running at supersonic speed, no actual artifact.
So killing of hegemonic citizens, massive property damage, illegal weapons use.
Well, we're licensed, so that's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's hard for you to even get illegal weapons. I don't think anybody died. There was some property damage, but I wouldn't say it was massive property damage.
Yeah, it was like a
3 or 4
couple
bikes, right?
bikes, yeah.
The hole in the wall
maybe?
that Cho put in.
Oh, the hole, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say. But we didn't do that. Cho did that.
Yeah.
So we'll call it just 2 heat overall. You guys are licensed, which is -2 heat, so you take 0 heat for this job.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to being a bounty hunter.
Way to go, gang.
To kill.
Where would that be? If
License.
there was.
Oh, yeah. So where is heat tracked? There's usually a faction tracker sheet, which I actually realized I didn't make for you guys, that we would actually track like your relationship with all the factions in the game.
I see.
Oh yeah, you can click on a faction mode. So that would have been like under the Rin system thing.
Yeah. So that would be heat
Got
for
it.
that particular system is each system is tracked differently. So yeah, that is another thing. Like if you do get a wanted level in a certain system, you can kind of like lay low in another system and try to like work on getting that lower. But anyway, so then we roll for entanglements. So your characters and crew didn't just spring into existence. You guys have a complex history of favors, commitments, debts, and promises that got you where you are today. And so to reflect this after every job, we roll an entanglement, which is just like this kind of random event or thing that happens to you guys, often because of things in the past. So I'm going to go ahead and roll that. So something like that, I'll roll. And based on how wanted you are, like the entanglements can get higher and higher. Basically, they can get pretty ridiculous. So new friends. This one. Okay. He's a little more than usual. All right, so this one's going to come back up here shortly, in the middle of our downtime. We're going to jump into downtime activities. So during the downtime phase, everybody can choose 2 activities, and there's a list of activities. If you want to look at 184 in the PDF, one of our references might have, reference number 2 talks about like has a little downtime section. If you just want to look at the reference sheet and roll 20. So this is basically personal needs, side projects. Generally, this is when people indulge their vice to try and get rid of stress. You can also work on like long-term projects like repairing that bike, or things like work if you have suffered wounds, you can also recover from wounds. And long-term projects are also like pretty wide and broad and can be anything from like studying an artifact to creating a new type of technology to installing something on the ship. Like it could be pretty wide range of whatever you can kind of think of. Or you can work on like acquiring an asset, which is where you're trying to get like it's a temporary use of an asset. So maybe you're taking a special job on a planet and you guys don't have survival gear. So maybe you want to like acquire some survival gear for this job. You might use the acquire asset downtime. You can also spend a cred to take an extra downtime action just as a point of reference. So you guys all have 1 cred. So if you wanted to take 3 downtime actions instead of 2, you could spend a point of cred. You can also spend a cred to flash back to do like a downtime action later. So say you're on a job and you're like, ooh, we should have acquired this. I'm going to spend a cred to flash back to do a downtime where we acquired this for the job kind of thing. So with that being said, I am going to start with, oh, actually, is there anyone that has kind of like glanced at the downtime activities and kind of has an idea already of what you're going to do? Sam?
I'm gonna work on the bike.
Oh, yeah.
But like, I would like to work on the bike with Liv, and try to add some boosters and some better maneuvering,
Okay.
anti grav on it. I can rig things, so I would
Sure,
assume that would
sure.
help. I don't know.
So-
A pilot's input to that, just to be like, oh, you know, and also a kid's input to be like, oh, we could try this thing, we could do that thing, we could try to go faster if I do that little spin maneuver again. Well,
Yeah, no, I'll add that to the list. I
I'm
also have
helping.
the better at fixing things that take a long time. I never put in the actual what my mechanic ability is. I just have that little thing.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, we're going to do a long-term project here. I'm going to say it's like a 6 clock, which is not really like super tough. There's only a fair amount of damage to this, but not so much that it's going to be so challenging. So we kind of choose a skill, which I think rig makes sense here. And you get an extra, was it just an extra segment on clocks when you're using rig is the way it works, right? If you're using rig or study.
I never wrote the entire thing out.
I don't know.
It's the mechanic specifically.
Yeah, and it didn't auto fill on my
Yeah.
sheet. Let me see here.
This is the tinker ability. Yeah, when you work on a clock with rig or hack, or when you study a schematic, fill +1 segment. So cool. So basically, you're going to give me a rig roll based on the result is how many ticks on the clock you'll get, and you automatically get +1 because you're a mechanic, and this is kind of what you do.
Controlled.
Yeah, you just control standard.
I'm about to have a Jonathan moment and you go use the restroom real bad. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, because Jonathan's the only one who's ever peed.
Yeah, for real. Wow.
Okay, so a 4
Yes.
gives you. Sounds good, man. A 4 gives you 2 segments. You get 1 more for being mechanic. So you've kind of like you start doing. We get the scene of you repairing with, you've got Gabriel there, kind of like trying to help and learn and stuff like that, tinkering around with it.
Sick flames on the side.
Yeah.
They don't actually make it go faster.
Oh god.
I was gonna roleplay him for a hot second. I decided against it.
That just reminded me of Nate's other character, his robot character that had the fucking flames on the side of it. And it's like, they make me badass. Yeah, we still got him. Yeah, his robot learned what badass was. And there's just like this redneck mouse character that always makes him
Hell
badass.
yeah.
He still says naughty donkey sometimes instead of badass.
Naughty donkey, that's a
Naughty
new one for me.
Donkey.
It's interesting.
He also uses the word pleasurable way too often.
Yeah.
Pleasurable. You gotta do pleasurable.
Yeah. It is pleasurable. Yeah.
It is pleasurable.
So yeah. So we get scenes of you kind of like repairing, and maybe even the Urbot, if you guys are kind of like letting her out, is just kind of like watching you work on this bike a little bit in the shop. What was your other downtime activity that you wanted to do?
Oh, I get more than one?
You get 2, yeah.
Oh,
Do you want to? How's your stress? Do you need to get rid of some
I only
stress?
have 2. I mean, it's not that bad. I don't want to.
We can come back to you if you and say that's just like we do, or you can keep working on the long-term project.
I just want to keep working on this. I'd rather get it fixed. So
Yeah, you can
should
go
I
ahead and-
roll again?
You can go ahead.
I love this like grunge
Oh!
music playing.
Yeah,
in the
it's really good.
background.
The machine. So the first time you roll a critical while fixing or building a particular machine, you may add a simple modification to it.
This is not a critical.
But it's a
Six.
6.
You
It's
have to have
2
two
sixes, right?
sixes for a critical,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't like that. Okay.
6 is just like a full success, basically.
I hate you.
So, but that
Meh.
does mean that you guys now have a fully repaired bike, basically, because like there's basically we get more scenes of you kind of working on this, and then like backing up, and the hum of the hover, the anti-grav's coming on, and the bike like floating up. And
Did it do anything that I helped at all, like mechanically?
I mean, unless you spend stress to like add dice to her rolls, which really wasn't necessary.
For any downtime roll, add +1d to the roll if you get help from a friend or contact. After the roll, you may increase the result level for cred spent. You can make that 6 a critical if you use your cred.
I don't want to use
I don't know if you have to do
my
that before or
cred.
after, but
I don't want to spend a cred for that.
it's on the reference.
I don't want to spend
The-
my cred though. I only have 1, and I'm gonna probably use it on the ship.
No, but she would get an extra dice roll just from a friend helping, right?
If you
Without
helped
stress?
her, if you
Oh,
helped
so,
her on both,
a friend or a contact is typically an NPC. You as a
Oh.
player can use
Oh.
the help action to spend a stress and give her an extra,
Gotcha.
or basically that you
understand.
can can help her using like the stress mechanic, basically.
Could
Otherwise,
I do
it's-
it to? Could I do it to try to make it faster and try to make it like a more mechanically better bike? Could I do that? Was that not even a thing?
I mean-
or I would do something on the ship, but I just don't know what I just haven't. I just don't know what I would do on the ship since it's loosely defined currently. What I would like to do on the ship, if it's no point for me to work on the bike and I'm just kind of there just to hang out a little bit,
yeah.
and just to see the bike, what I would like to do to the ship, is try to rig power supplies for like overcharging, in case it was ever necessary for like better overcharges.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So you want to create kind of like a sci-fi NOS system for the ship?
Well, kind of. I want to make like an over, like I could punch a couple buttons and it would give me a overburst without destroying the capacitors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Be able
No, I
to
dig it.
like a NOS system, but basically just like expand the stress level of the capacitors, basically.
overclock the engine, baby.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Special chip in the engine.
For the sake of our current game and kind of keeping things tight, I'll also say this is a 6 o'clock as well. So yeah, you could totally do that. You said you wanted to use rig, which makes sense to me.
Okay.
This will be
So I've got 1 rig. Does that mean I get 2 die?
you have 1 rig, which means you just have 1 dice if you have 1 rig. Now you can push yourself on these rolls, or you can get help from somebody.
Help would be stress. Pushing myself is 2 stress, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Push myself. I'll push myself.
Okay.
Okay, so just the 2 d6.
Yeah, and be a controlled standard.
Shoot.
Oh, that's fine. So it's a 4, which means we get 2 pips on that. So yeah, we get kind of like scenes of you in the engine room, kind of like maybe putting together all these like glowing little sci-fi capacitors and like trying to plug up maybe into like a box or something that ties into the hyperdrive or the jump drive itself.
Yeah.
Which I'll say the jump drive on these ships, this is also like technology that can like follow way lines and stuff like that for higher speeds in system. So the jump drive itself is like a weird artifact like technology. So cool. Yeah. So do you want to do both of your downtime activities focusing on that long-term project?
I was going to use my next one as soon as we got anywhere to go. Pazak. That. No, I'm just kidding. It's a cultural
Oh
thing.
hell yeah! Let's
yeah,
play
play-
the fucking pause
Yeah.
on, dude.
You can totally
Yeah, I
like
want to play that, and I want to make it a
How's
thing.
your
'cause
deck
that
looking,
game was
bro?
fun.
Game was great.
okay.
You know, a lot of plus minus ones. Not that great.
So is that you're gonna like indulge your vice? Is that what this is? Because pushing yourself there, I think, puts you up to 4 stress, right? So you do have a chance of overindulgence here, but
But I would have to roll a 5 or 6 to overindulge, right?
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
so
I'll risk that.
statistically,
So just
yeah.
one d6.
It's a pretty good chance.
yeah. So when you do, you'll actually there's an indulge
Sure.
vice button that you can just hit because it does what it does is it takes the lowest of your insight prowess or resolve. So, but there's an indulge vice right under the vice button. You'll see a little blue.
I mean,
so
they
yeah,
never know.
we get the scene of you kind of like are you in like some high fancy place, or were you back in the same bar where you guys ran into Arlocks or something like that? Like where do we see you kind of playing cards? It's like a CD bar or something nice.
I'm not
fancy.
fancy place. I'm just I'm probably at a bar with some people who
Your mic didn't pick that last one up. Your mic
Yeah,
didn't pick that last one up. It's still not picking it up.
You
It's
just keep
still
cutting
not
out.
picking it up.
Yeah.
16-year-old.
Oh, I heard 16-year-old. That's
all I heard.
Basically a 16-year-old. They're what? I'm hustling them. They think I'm an easy target.
you're playing cards with some 16-year-old.
Did you,
Oh, you're a 16-year-old. Like he's your
Because he's a clone.
18, guys.
yeah.
Popey, your mic keeps cutting out.
All we were hearing was 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, with no context.
You got to turn that sensitivity down, baby. I cannot hear you.
I don't know how to do that on my app.
I mean, you sound fine now, so
Yeah,
just speak up a little bit, buddy.
Move the iPad a little bit closer. Change the sensitivity on the.
Oh, I think it was
voice
because
gear.
I think it was because my AirPods were picking up on my phone for a minute.
That would make sense.
Basically, no. I'm at a bar.
Yeah, it keeps happening.
Yeah.
Like as you're explaining, you're like, I'm at a bar and is what we get. Like it keeps cutting out.
But you're at a bar, you're hustling.
We're not fucking with you. It just keeps happening.
They think I'm an easy target. Zach, can I do a cred, or is that not a thing?
Do a cred?
Gamble
Just for stress.
for like actual money.
Can I do a cred?
You could spend a cred to do another like indulge vice if you wanted to do that. But you definitely have like that's a 50-50 chance to overindulge there, which could be interesting to see that mechanic if you wanted to. But I'm gonna take that as a no since I still can't hear you.
Try to
But
get another cred.
oh, like trying to get no, it's pretty much like a narrative thing, basically. You can tell me basically if does he pull in enough money, because this will be like kind of hand waved money. So does he win at these kind of games? Because you're usually not gambling like a full cred or something of these.
Okay.
So I guess tell us, when we see these cutscenes of Gabriel playing, is he a winner or a loser at these games typically?
He's actually pretty good.
Okay, so he kind of like
Uh,
hustles
This
these.
specific one, Pizak, he's pretty good at because it's a lot of numbers and everything like that. But if you start playing like,
Start playing war.
like dice, right? You
Some
start playing
something
like
that's more
dice
random.
games and stuff like that. I get really bad.
Gotcha. So we kind of see him winning at this Pizak table and like kind of walking away, kind of counting his little credits.
Gabriel has never gotten a Yahtzee in his whole life.
Okay.
Exactly.
Albin or White? Should we go next?
Do you know what you want to do, Steven?
Kind of. I need to get rid of some stress.
Okay. So you want to indulge your vice?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
He goes down to like the communications array on the ship, the thing that gives us the Nexus link, and he pulls out his like ear, like antenna link, and he plugs it into the thing. He like sits back on like the edge of the server rack, and the eye holes go from like the like dull white light to like the screen in the Matrix, like when they go in with like the green lines, effectively just like humming information constantly through his brain, and he's effectively, for lack of a better term, surfing the wild web, just like getting lost down rabbit holes and rabbit holes and rabbit
He's on
holes, trying to
Reddit.
like, yeah, he's on, he's like looking at like,
Space Reddit.
he starts out looking at like people start like making gardens, and then he ends up on like
How to
what
talk
this
to
one planet
giraffes.
thought like fascism was like, and it's just he's weird spinning things, but he's looking for references of himself and like Urbot, like weird is the thing, so like just weird, like what's the term I'm looking for, relics and shit,
Yeah.
like that kind of like the way thing, to be like, is there any like connection, does anything give me a hit of like it's familiar?
Okay. Dude.
Because so just click indulge vice.
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys know, but when you wipe a hard drive, no bonus dice.
No.
No. When you wipe a hard drive, most of the time it doesn't actually erase any of the data. It just gets rid of the barriers between them, but the ones and zeros are still there. You can still recover all the data until it gets overwritten with new data. So all that stuff's still technically up there somewhere, but it's just not accessible.
Right on. So yeah, you clear 2 stress,
Hell yeah.
and yeah, so we get that scene. And this is, did you say this was on the ship, or do you go somewhere specific for this?
On the ship.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a safe place, because I'm out for like a solid 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm just gonna do this one. So cut back to last but not least, Albin.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a second thing, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. Train, what does that functionally mean?
Training is basically usually you're adding XP to something. So you can train your playbook, you can train in one of Insight, Prowess, or Resolve. Your ship, the Cerberus, comes with a extra training facility for training Prowess. So whenever you do training with Prowess as a crew member of the Cerberus, you get 2 XP points towards filling your Prowess bar.
So, okay, and once you fill that up, you get to actually add a pip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it says XP for an attribute or your playbook. What does adding
Yeah.
XP in your playbook do?
So you'll see the playbook advancement above where you mark XP. Once you fill up your playbook advancement XP thing, you can take an ability from your playbook or another playbook. It's down where you mark XP.
Oh, I keep forgetting you can take other special abilities from other playbooks too.
Mm-hmm.
Is that? Oh, okay. I see. I guess I don't have anything else. I could do. Hold on. All right, follow me here.
Okay.
The Urbot, the little Urbot girl.
Mm-hmm.
She can interact with things in her mind. Can I do a craft roll? If you have a schematic, craft a device, use a rig or hack roll. Can I do a hack roll on the Urbot girl in an effort to like upgrade myself to like you're a better model than me. How do I improve myself using your shit? Because I don't know like what I could craft. So if I could craft like something to make my character better.
I guess, is there something in particular that you'd be trying to get, or like an ability you're trying to add to your character? Can we be a little more specific, I guess, on what kind of
what abilities are available? And just for flavor, a new voice box would be fun because she talks normally. That'd be fun.
Yeah, so I mean, it could be some. So she has lots of like some of the newest guild technology on her person. So there's like a theoretically you might be able to scan or like get her permission to get some schematics from her of different parts.
Would
But
there be mechanically anything? Like armor, is that something that I like? Because it's, I don't know if it's craft equals item.
It can be, or it could be a narrative thing. I mean, so it could be something like she has the ability to look like a person, so maybe you get kind of plans to build like a body that can like look like a human or something like that, which will allow you to not look like an Urbot. Or maybe you get an ability that adds to your Xeno abilities of like being able to access, technology wirelessly or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I want to try that. See if that works.
So is there a specific technology that you're trying to gain for you?
The voice box and any sort of like body / armor modifications, if anything I could get.
Okay.
Got a pretty solid hack roll.
So let's call this. You're trying to get a lot of stuff from her. You're trying to get basically as much as you can from her body schematics, right? So you can.
I'm just interested and I'm trolling around. Obviously, I would ask her consent, be like, "You are new technology, and I am needing some form of upgrade. Would you be willing to interface?" That's a weird way of putting that.
Hey, you want to interface with me later?
I'm technically a robot. It's not weird.
Yeah, we'll call this like a long-term project to basically get a whole set of schematics on hand for you to craft from, right?
Okay. Would it be a long-term project role, or would it still be the hack? Because that's technically a skill.
Well, I mean, you
Hack
could use
origin.
the hack skill for the long term. You have to still choose a skill that you're using for the project.
Yeah, I could do hack or attune. I've got the same.
So because she's willing and you're just getting schematics, not necessarily creating anything right here, I'm just going to call this a 4. Yeah.
A what?
A 4 segment clock.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. So it's controlled.
It's controlled.
Standard effect.
Yeah.
don't want to use my cred on this, so
Well, hey.
5.
All right. So, do you get any kind of bonus with when you hack stuff? You mentioned?
I don't know where I would.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, I could have used. Hold on. It takes me a while to get 100% into these things. Mystic.
I would say if you wanted to use, like, as part of your Xeno abilities, if you wanted to spend stress to, like, use a bunch of processing power to kind of, like, help you download and process this huge amount of information, then I would, like, maybe add another segment or something. Or...
Yeah, gain potency whenever you attune to other artifacts as 1 stress as an Urbot ability. Would that what would
Yeah, we
potency
can.
add?
Yeah, you're not really attuning, but it's still an Urbot, so I'll go. Yeah, you can spend a stress and gain potency, which would do the same kind of thing I was talking about. Give you 1 more segment on the clock.
Perfect. Let's do that.
Cool. So yeah, I'll say this kind of like. Well, I guess you tell me, what does this look like for you, kind of downloading this information, and then the last segment will basically you just be kind of like processing it and actually like separating all these schematics. So you've got that way you don't have to like keep her on hand to keep working on it.
Yeah, I give her however she wants to interface with the earplug. And I imagine because she was able to like just look at the computer, she can just kind of just like be like, I'll just beam it into your head.
Yeah, she kind of just sits there and like looks at you, and kind of like feel her like presence, basically.
This is not comfortable.
So she's
necessary.
Basically just receive like this huge data packet of information.
Yeah, like a 3 terabyte file, and I will parse this soon.
Yeah. All right, cool. So, yeah, we get those scenes of the 2 Urbots on the ship doing this, and then
hanging out, robot stuff.
Robot stuff.
We cut to Albin.
My first thing I want to do is train in prowess, actually, which is convenient that Cerberus gives 2, right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
So what does that look like for you? Are you like using some training room in the Cerberus?
There's a punching bag somewhere on the Cerberus, and Albin.
Are you talking to it?
Just mercilessly insults it for 3 hours.
Albin insults it. They go in for a couple punches, and they're like, "Just kidding." Huh. so it's sort of like, it's like almost like they're practicing their like sucker punches, like that kind of thing. Like trying to lead in with conversation, and then when it's least expected, just wham.
Okay, I can appreciate that.
And I would also I have a question about acquiring assets.
Okay.
What exactly does that do?
So it is typically a temporary asset.
Sure.
It's usually not permanent, though you can maybe make like a long-term project or whatever, depending on the thing. But it's basically you can either gain temporary use of something like a contractor, like an expert or a gang, or a vehicle or ship module temporarily, or a special item like that might be on one of the playbooks, or a set of common items for the whole crew. Or there could be like a service, like if you want transport from somebody, or use of a warehouse for storage, or like legal representation, pretty much any kind of service you could think of that your crew might need. But it's basically... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, so as a speaker, I get an extra downtime to acquire assets or lay low.
Okay.
So can I use that to acquire asset and maybe get some like support from the Pasha? Maybe like have them spread the word that we completed our job adequately, that kind of thing.
Okay, so like a service here being to spread like a positive reputation for you guys or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
Is there a certain type of reputation that you want her to? Because you guys have a reputation for being a strange crew right now. Is there some particular type of reputation that you want her to spread about you?
Where's the list of those? Is it
great? That's a great question.
Is it in a reference or is it on the sheet somewhere?
I don't think it is anywhere conveniently in Roll20.
I have the PDF open, so
Just search strange in it, see if that populates the list.
It is on page. Reputation is not in the index.
It's probably on ship, right? Somewhere.
Probably.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. But it's like I remember, like there's professional, weird.
I would honestly probably professional.
Yeah,
we did our job. We did what we were asked to do. We came back in within the time period.
It's a good reputation to have.
Yeah, for sure. How do I roll this? D6.
So it is actually hold on.
Cruise quality.
Yeah.
So
which you get you get +1 dice. Your crew quality right now is 0.
Okay.
So you would start at 1 dice with your speaker trait, I believe.
Okay.
And then you can push yourself for something like that if you want to.
Okay. So crew roll 0 bonus dice, 1 bonus dice.
Crew roll with 1 bonus dice. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I think.
Okay. So let's look at what 2 is for require asset real quick.
-1 quality, whatever that is.
So your quality, it's like, so to acquire the real crew quality using the crew's quality as the base, since you guys are you basically get the the crappiest quality you could possibly get, which is -1 of the crew's quality, so it's less than 0.
So, okay, that's fine.
Your crew's professional if you want them to kill the thing that you want to get.
They only do the basis of what their job entails and nothing more.
They get the job done, technically.
Yeah, so you do like see rumors of the crew getting back to you, but they're like, you could tell the Pasha's not really putting in like a lot of effort, and I will say, yeah. So there's like a few web blogs and stuff popping up about your job, and it becomes a little more public, even though it was like kind of a criminal syndicate bounty.
Okay.
But I will say for that, it just becomes a little more well known that you guys were on this job that had to deal with this this guild bot.
Okay.
So yeah. Anything else, Alvin?
I think so. So that was my bonus as a speaker. So I'll do. I want to do like a long-term project, and it's just like a mask. So it's something I can like go into negotiations wearing this mask that it's. I mean, long blonde hair, ridiculous regalia, whatever. But a mask, no one's gonna know. So it's like my concept is like it's like a sort of like techie carbon fiber mask that has it has 2 eyes that are black and hollowed out and have like little red pupil or iris circles, but then underneath there's another set of those same eyes with the same like red irises, so it's just a 4-eyed like blank face.
Okay. So this is basically going to be like, is this something you want to be like a disguise or something for you?
Yeah, like a disguise.
Okay.
Looking like Die Hard, man.
Die Hardman.
Cool. So yeah, I'll just call this like a little 4 thing. Like the hard thing is just kind of like finding the right mask, basically.
Sure.
It's gonna work for you. So
just roll a d6 for this.
Yeah, basically say what. Well, you say what skill you're using. Are you kind of like consorting, like going through marketplaces and stuff to find this mask? Is this something where,
Yeah, I think that would make. Yeah, I think I'll go with consort. I was gonna go consort or study, but consort's a better role. So,
okay.
Controlled, standard. I won't use any bonus dice. 5.
Nice.
So
Hey, maybe you find like a mask that kind of works. You just have to do some
manipulation, work on it.
Yeah.
Cool. And that's Albin.
Cool. And yeah, I'll say that kind of thing with Albin's mask, that would put like maybe a permanent item as one of your choices, as like a special item that's like a disguise kit or something.
Cool. Awesome.
Cool. So that being said, I think that is all our downtime actions.
Yeah. Oh, baby.
So I think that's a good time for us to take a break.
Sure. Sounds good.
We'll be right back.
I try.
We're
I
back.
really do.
Because we
All
can.
right.
But I'm also very excited for Eberron.
I'm just
I-
excited to play video tabletop games with
Video
my
tabletop games.
You- That's nice saying right there, buddy.
Yeah. I like that. Some video tabletop gaming.
And Jason's out of bed.
Dude, I am. Yeah, man,
All
I'm
right.
Already-
feeling Eberron for sure.
Gonna
I already
duct
got my
tape
art.
that child into his bed. I'm not actually going to. Let me clarify. But please continue
Scene
without
two,
me.
you just see it just like
Okay.
bed, you know.
So I guess is the next scene we see when we come back, because now everybody comes back to the ship. Do we see any scenes of you guys kind of making your plan of like what to do next here on while you're still here planet side? Is that maybe our next scene?
Yeah, that seems right. That seems fine.
I'll go talk to. Well, I guess we could do it as a group thing, but I was going to go talk to Albin about heading to. I think. Do you have is there a specific place? This is something I was going to try to make up on the spot, but is there a specific place that would be better suited to where I would be from? Since I don't know this area, these places at all.
Where you would
You kind of just pick a place, like the manufacturing facility where I was from.
I will say the main Yaru facility in the Procyon sector is on the planet Lithios in the the Iotis system.
Hmm.
So that was probably where you were made or created. But that doesn't necessarily have to be like where your character grew up or where they trained, and could be like Yaru can have a place pretty much anywhere if you had somewhere specific in mind. Or
I was just gonna go to Holt and try to talk into going to Omega because that sounds awesome. Quarantined is deadly. And the reason I ask is
Gabriel walks up immediately.
is because I want to avoid that. Hey, Alvin, I've been thinking I really want to go.
Nope.
To this place. It's called. It's
Nope.
Hey, you don't even know.
Gabriel?
You don't even know what I'm saying. Like, why would
Gabriel?
you say that? I'm gonna just try to just keep explaining things until you hear out what I have to say because that's what I do. I mean, it's good. I really thought this thing
Go
out.
ahead.
I do a lot of numbers.
Where are we
a lot of
going?
calculations.
Gabriel?
We're gonna go to the Holt system and we're gonna go to Omega.
Nope. Wrong. Nope. We are
I've
going
already-
to Raftima. We have a goal. Sorry.
I
No,
actually,
it's okay. You drive. I know you drive the ship. It's fine, but we have to go that way anyway if we're going to go to Omega. So
We're actually already on our way.
just go hold a little more west, space west, if you will.
And who's driving the ship?
It's automatic. While we're not like, I can set automatic pilot. Wife, I feel like you should know this.
Then why? Gabriel, tell me then, if we have an automatic pilot, why do we need you?
Because I really get really hands on when like things like start flying at us and like things start shooting at us and bombs start going off. We have to do some really evasive maneuvers, like we're going to go around some asteroid fields or like find our way inside of a big giant space worm and find our way around or anything like that. So yeah.
Flashback to the time that we were all inside of a giant space worm. Well,
that reference that
breakfast.
Taylor Dan doesn't understand.
Wow.
It's a Star Wars reference.
It is a Star Wars reference.
I was thinking of Dune. Sorry.
The spice
Well-
must flow.
The spice must flow.
They
Wait,
hauled out the space worm and turned it into a quaint bed and breakfast.
We have to go to where?
Baftoma, which is
And
on the way.
we are where now?
We are on Warren, or we've just left Warren. We've just left this Ecunopoulos.
Yeah, that's cool.
Ecunimopolis.
You are the pilot setting the autopilot. How do you not know where we are and going? I am going to check the settings.
So I do want to have like we see like as you're he says we're already on the way, and we get this cutscene of the Cerberus flying away from the moon known as Warren. And I think we get this scene of this ship that seems to be not too terribly far away. Our audience sees what looks like a very kind of like fancy modern ship with kind of guild symbols on the side, to kind of take off right after the Cerberus.
Beans.
Sam just got back, but I was gonna make a oh no, we forgot list joke.
Not again.
So, your crew is. This is the planning and engagement phase. Your crew spends time planning each job. We're sitting in like the ship's galley or maybe the brig in this spot, and we're like kind of reviewing. Like we have like Baptima on screen with like the location of the junkyard that you were kind of told to drop her off. Maybe like a map of like the way lines leading over to Baptima. But we don't usually do any of the nitty gritty planning. This one especially, we don't really have to. The job is basically you're trying to get her from point A to point B safely. So typically there's 6 different types of plans you can choose from. So to plan a job, your team simply chooses the plan, and there's like a detail that we focus on, and we choose that detail and kind of go from there. Now this one seems pretty straightforward. The types of plans are assault, deception, infiltration, a mystic plan, social, or transport. This seems pretty straightforward transport job to me. Does that sound fair to you guys?
Yeah, seems fine to me.
Cool. So the detail is the route and the means. So I guess route wise, are you pretty much just going the fastest way there to Baptima, or are you trying to take some back way through like some uncharted way lines, or what is your what is the route you're taking? Because there's like these main way lines that are going to be your fastest, most straightforward ones. There are kind of like dark space way lines that might have shortcuts, but they're usually unmapped and can have like dangerous way creatures or other types of threats in them.
I don't know that we get the impression that we're being
I'll say that there are several factions after this robot, but that's all your characters really know.
But we don't know what the audience knows that we're being followed. So
I mean, you guys are professionals, so I think that's a safe assumption to make, is that you might be followed.
Okay,
we're professionals.
Yeah, we're very bottom of the barrel professional.
We're strangely professional.
You just got paid for that job, so you're technically professionals. So.
Yeah,
we made a profession of this.
And we're licensed. I mean, hey.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally think we just kind of take the standard route and divert if we need to, but
cool. So that sounds good.
I keep forgetting I'm the captain. I make the decisions. I am the captain now.
It's a group decision, but
final
say. Cool.
I will advise Gabriel to be aware that we may have to jump routes, though.
So, one of the things we choose is item loadouts when you're on ship. I'm a little more flexible with this because I don't think it's really going to come up because you can get most of your equipment if you need to. But typically we go through here and be like, okay, well, what are you guys going to be? Normal, heavy, or light?
Yeah.
So, I will say while you're on your ship, I usually assume people are either going to be light or normal. But you guys can kind of decide that for yourself.
I'll be light personally for this one.
I'm at least normal, like at all times.
Yeah, normal.
Cool.
I guess
So
normal.
So you can select your load is going to be right above your items and right below your like playbook name on your character sheet. You can just kind of click if you the way you want.
It's not 6 for heavy, is it? It's 8, you said?
Yes. Yeah, it's 8 for heavy.
Okay.
You can change that in the little gear settings.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I think I'm gonna be light on this one.
Cool.
Yeah, I will on the ship be normal, and I'm probably would even go in heavy a lot times for mission. Now, question real quick though, grappling hook counts as a load, right?
Yeah. You don't have to
Okay,
choose
so-
what you have on you right now.
Right, that's fine, but just all of that is just one. What about like the armor that has the 2 or the heavy blaster that has 2?
Yeah, so those
Automatic.
those would be 2 load, yeah, typically. So you can choose too whether you have I think like a light armor, or if you get a heavy armor, I think it might be you have to have the Cerberus ability that lets you do that.
To get a heavy armor?
Yeah. So typically you can only use 1 box for armor. If you get the loaded for bear ability, when your crew wears armor, it counts as heavy armor, which is 2 uses.
Oh, Space Bear. Oh no.
Well, I'm generally always going to have 2 blaster pistols on me, a grappling hook, armor, and a spacesuit on.
Sure.
Yeah.
So can you have like a light spacesuit, or is this, since there was light armor and heavy armor, or
Yeah, I think
spacesuit automatically?
I think that's fine. And again, you don't have to like actually declare any of this at the beginning of a mission. It's the idea is like if a challenge comes, you say, okay, well, I have this on me, and you can choose from anything on that list.
Cool.
When you need it. And then once you actually declare that you have that item on you is when you would like check it off your item list and mark the load. Typically.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, I like the way the inventory works in this a lot.
Yeah. So it's the idea again being that you guys are professionals and like you have the right tool for the job on you.
It's Schrodinger's inventory.
Mhm.
I love
So
that every
yeah.
time.
So then we reset the gambit, so those are back at 2. And then we do the engagement roll. So with the engagement roll, we're going to go through kind of this list of modifiers with it. And then we'll have just somebody roll. So it starts at 1, just for sheer luck. And then we go through if there's any major advantages or disadvantage. Is operation particularly bold or daring? I wouldn't say so. You guys are just driving a
Space trucking.
and it's not overly complex either. It's not contingent on many factors. Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest? And now there's not really a direct target in that way.
Normal day in the park.
Yeah.
Can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight for this operation?
Oh, hold on. Insight. Where was it? Reference 1. I don't know if it's something that I can actually do, but attune allows me to attune to the way and communicate with non-sentient species of robots or sense unseen danger or killing intent. Safely handle precursor artifacts or remnants. So I think part of my job would be to kind of hang out on the neural net or just like kind of scan our surroundings every now and then if the ship scanner doesn't pick it up. I don't know if that would add insight. I don't know if it's the ability that I could do to make our lives easier. Because you said that we are professionals and we might be followed because we have the spicy cargo.
Yeah, I'm fine with that narratively being a thing, but saying that would be like give you a +1 dice, and this
Right.
seems like a dangerous precedent.
One of my friends is a guild member.
Ooh, okay.
Maybe that would be something. could get like tipped off that there's a guild ship that's interested in our
Okay.
cargo or something.
Yeah. So Manda is a contact that you can definitely reach out to. They are neither friend nor rival.
Yeah.
So they are a neutral contact. How do you know Manda?
I think that Albin attended some sort of guild soiree at some point and
Okay.
made a lasting impression on Manda in some way involving I would assume copious amounts of wine or spirits.
Okay.
And I think Albin thinks that it was a good experience, but realistically, they have no idea whether or not they actually like them or not.
All right. Okay.
But some kind of like a professional gathering type thing
All right.
where they met.
So, most guild members are humans.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true for Manda, or is she a Xeno of some type?
I would say that Manda is a human. Yes.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So you reach out to Manda. What does that look like? Do you send her a message? Do you try to like video call her?
Oh, 100% video call.
Okay.
Hey baby, you up?
even if it goes to voicemail.
Late night booty call, baby.
Okay. So before we get into like whether you have Manda's aid, let's do a little scene here. Where we kind of like, yeah, you pull up the video call, and Manda comes on screen. Do you want to tell us what she looks like?
Sure. So Manda
contact.
Yeah. So Manda is a let's see. So she is dark skinned, has like black hair, is very very tall. She is probably from Albin assumes probably from the Iota system in some place. But she has a like a cyborg set of like her index finger and her ring finger are cybernetic, but beside that she does not really have any like cybernetic enhancements or so, but she is a diligent member of the guild.
Okay. Yeah, and I think you catch her. So to make this a video call, it needs to be like in system. So she's probably like right now she's from Iota, but she's working like on Warren in like one of the guild offices.
Sure.
Probably.
Yeah. I think that would be the thing. Like Albin maybe had heard rumor that she was doing business on Warren at the time. And so figured they'd reach out.
Cool. I dig it. Okay. So yeah, Manda like pops up. She's wearing her kind of like guild uniform. And she's a guild of engineers. And she says, Albin, why are you calling me?
Now, you may have heard about this. I believe it falls under your jurisdiction, but there have been rumors of an escaped Urbot. And I was curious if you knew anything about it. We've heard things from one of the Pashas on Warren that the Urbot may have escaped and was sought by the guild.
Are you the part of the bounty crew that's tied up in this? Is that how you know about this?
Well, perhaps that's not the best way to put it, but we have negotiated with the Pasha about matters that are somewhat related, but we have
I don't
no-
want to know. I don't want to know. What do you want from me, Albin?
Do you know if the guild still is actively seeking the Urbot?
That's classified information.
It may be classified, but if you had an impression one way or the other, like if you thought, yeah, maybe a little bit, or no, I don't think so anymore.
Make me a. This is your. Ooh, hold on. Hey, look at these real quick. Connections. Yes, this. I kind of want to see like a consort roll here.
Okay.
To kind of like see how willing she is to give you this information.
Sure.
And this would be a controlled standard.
Okay. Can do that. Let's see what we got. 4.
Okay. So I think. So she's like, fine, but I want an apology first.
It's been so long. That party was ages ago, Manda.
Maybe for you, but I am still dealing with rumors from that party.
A little too much wine can make a person have... They can make them say certain things that they might not say otherwise. I don't think that you really made an effort to commune with all of those Urbots in some kind of ritual. It was just... It came up. It seemed like a thing that people would think was funny, entertaining, and then forget the next day.
You literally yelled it from the top of the table. It embarrassed me in front of everybody. I basically told everybody you were my cousin who was inbred, but
Just because I'm from out of system. It's fine. Amanda, I'm sorry. I apologize. I will not spread any more Urbot communing rumors about you. At least at the next party we attend.
well, that's the least you could do, but fine. Yes, the guild has sent a ship after the bounty hunters that they think have the Urbot on board. We have a tracking system built into it.
Well, that's very curious. I have to go. Goodbye.
Just
hang up.
All right.
Everyone,
That was such a bullshit apology.
everyone, Lasher has a tracker. The guild's after us.
So that'll be like a +1 die for your like kind of friend's insight. You know now that there is for sure a guild ship kind of like coming after you.
Okay, great.
Are there enemies or rivals interfering?
Well,
well, not necessarily like on top of the normal threat that you're already dealing with, right? Is the guild ship. You don't have any enemies or rivals that are helping or kind of hindering you. That's like a third party. At this point. No. Yeah, that would be one where you might lose a die if you had not convinced the Pasha that you had actually taken it or something, right?
sure.
Like, she would be trying to actively interfere with what you're doing. Are there any other elements that you want to consider? Maybe a lower tier target would get +1 D. Nah, I think we're going to leave it at that. So we have 2 dice for our engagement roll. Since this is a flying through space type of operation where you're transporting here, do we want our pilot to do the roll?
Sure. Sounds good to me.
Do I need to add anything to that?
Nope, it's just 2d6. I don't know if there's a button for
Can I
engagement
do anything to
rolls.
help, or is it stress level if I help?
I don't know. Can you push yourself on? No, because it's not like you yourself are making the roll. It's just like a
Yeah.
roll that needs to be made.
It's a table check.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just gonna try to help to add some stuff, but
No, it's not that kind of roll.
okay. So just helm. Or
It's just a straight 2d6. I mean, you can use helm if you have 2 pips there and just want to kind of throw it in.
5.
Not bad.
If it stresses me out as a person, does that help?
That's
So-
what this game is built to do.
Yeah,
Listen,
5
I've
is
got
8.
this completely under control.
5 is a mixed result, which means your crew, when we find them in action, is in a risky position.
Shit.
Okay.
Which is, it's not bad. Okay. So I think this is what we see. We have the ship like moving along with it. Maybe you're kind of just like watching a couple of the numbers and stuff flitting across the screen. Gabriel sitting in the pilot's chair. As we do like a quick flash through the ship, where do we see the rest of the party members? Just kind of like in transport.
In the engine room, just making
Just
sure
kind of like in-
everything's perfect.
Yeah, so it kind of is it like we see each of you in the kind of corners that you usually stay with, like the engine room, the comms room for Alpin, and I don't know. I'm imagining like something that's set up for like a workshop, but that just has like maybe like a single table or something, almost like an empty room that White is staying in.
Yeah, I'm staying in the pilot seat around the navigation, watching everything and reading comics. Some graphic novels.
So
It's manga.
ready to intercept any or answer any communications as soon as they come in. First ring.
Hey! It's a long
Hey,
time.
wow, that's crazy that you called right now. Wow.
I
Yeah.
just happened to be looking at my phone as you called. Wild.
And I think we see Lasher buckled in one of like the seats in the helm, basically.
Is she in a
Just kind of
car
in the back.
seat?
Well, it's just like a
There's a
bucket
little
seat.
kid in a suit.
Yeah.
I'm just like imagining her in the 5-point harness. Just
It is like a wrap, like it's like those harnesses that like wrap over, right? That cross over, lash you in, so in case there's like the anti-grav or something in the ship. Or
Space turbulence.
so actually that's something we should decide. Does your ship have like gravity effects in it? Because that's pretty common with the way the jump drives work, so it feels like you have gravity in your ship. Or do you guys have like an old school like no gravity in your?
it's mostly functional artificial gravity.
Yeah.
I think everywhere else except the cell area.
It that's fucked
Everywhere
up.
we got in there.
we have enough of an anti-grav or a
And
grav
I'm gonna be
field
doing like
to
some,
go
some, like,
everywhere in the
rolls
ship
and
except
stuff
for one area.
Gotcha.
So we have to bounce that area around.
we rotate it around.
It's like one of those like sliding car puzzles where you have to like move it around and be like,
Like-
this one today.
That's funny.
Sorry, Gabriel. We can't afford to run the grav in the pilot room right now. We can't afford it in the cockpit.
You've got
It's fine.
seat
I'm just
belts.
floating. I enjoy
Yeah.
it.
You've
I
got
can
seat
control
belts
all
on the
this, it's
pilot
fine.
chair,
Yeah. True.
but all your instruments and all the pens and everything
Yeah,
is just
just
fucking
floating away.
Like beef jerky floating
No,
around.
it's all
floating around.
A lot of them are magnetic. It's fine.
Magnets. Oh
We're
Okay.
real old school here.
Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
chains
Oh,
attached to them, like
Hey,
you're at the bank.
Man, if it works, it works.
So your
I'm
crew's
actually
been
using some like putty to like just stick them on there. Just like God.
and this is like after the crew has been kind of like flying for like a day now. You're most of the way through your trip here towards Baptima. And we get this cut of everybody. And I think there is the last cut is on the comms room. With Albin, you're kind of like hanging out, waiting to receive the communications. all of a sudden there's and maybe we get a quick cut of the pilot's room as the helm as this happens. There's a sudden jerking as the ship seems to be having some issues propelling itself. And it begins like slowing down. And you see like a light flashing on the comms as you're getting contacted by a nearby ship.
I rush
I
into
mean
the
to go on.
communications room.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Yep, just answer. Pick up.
Just kidding.
I
Hello?
rush into the communications.
How may I help you?
Yeah, so it's like everybody kind of like coming in or patching into this communications.
Yeah, I'll listen
Is there-
in, but I'm staying in the engine
Lasher's
room.
about to run in, and we're all like, no, go.
No, I say something to Albin. I say, Albin, I have something important to say. It has been officially exactly 14 day cycles since you told me to wait 14 day cycles to ask you. So I must ask you again. What is love?
Ask for another 14-day cycle.
Setting timer. As the communications go up as we're being attacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's definitely like your scanners are picking up a guild ship.
Sure.
Is there something happening?
So yeah, you chime in. You hear a voice on the other side. Give me 1 second. Actually, where are we? Okay. So, yeah, you get a voice coming over, crackles, and says, "This is Thiel Karot, operations head of the Guild of Engineers, ship Ursula Bow. We have cause to believe your ship is carrying guild contraband. You are caught in our tractor beam. We will bring your ship on board and process you then. Do you understand?"
Wipe, did you just bring that arm with the tracker in it again? I thought I told you to leave that on Warren.
Oh no. I seem to have, as I've heard you say before, step in it.
Excuse me, Thiel. I've spoken with Amanda, another of the guild from the Guild of Engineers, and she told me that yes, you're looking for some sort of Urbot, right? Some sort of escaped Urbot thing.
You're saying a guild member gave you classified information about what we were searching for?
Well, I'm not saying that, but I'm not saying that. Well, it's more like I just get the sense of when people aren't telling me the whole truth. You know what I understand? You know, you understand what I mean? Like, tell me a lie right now, just any lie.
He's gonna say, "I believe you."
I'm afraid, sir, I don't have time to entertain these games you want to play.
No, that's not true at all. You're very interested in my special ability. I know you are.
Okay. What is your goal here that you're trying to?
I don't know, dude.
While he is delaying and stalling,
Yeah.
quite masterfully.
Yes. We just hear him kind of like rambling at the guild.
It's like I'm just stalling, waiting for somebody else to do something.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna see if I can either give our ship a little extra juice to help us get out of the tractor beam, or find a way to somehow cancel out their tractor beam.
Okay. Well, those are two different things.
I know, and I don't know which one I'm more likely to be able to do. Hi, Bastet.
Just turn off the anti-grav field and just blast us into the future.
You know what? Yeah, we don't have any prisoners in the cells either, so I could take all the power away from that at the moment, too.
Yeah.
We're going dark! I'm turning off all the lights, and we're just gonna put all the power into the thrusters.
A lot of heat we're about to get.
Yeah.
Okay,
Fine.
we're a bounty hunter ship, right?
Yep.
It's
So your
fine.
ship does have some weapons on it.
We're also licensed for travel.
We're licensed for travel. Do we have any space? The Urbot's small, right?
Yeah, but they have a tracking chip in it. They'll be able to find it wherever we stow it.
Yeah, but how specific is the tracking chip? Is it like, oh, you're in this at this point
You
in space?
should ask
or-
them.
So I do have a question. How specific exactly is the tracking chip you have in whatever this thing is that you're searching for?
Make me a sway roll.
I would love to.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take some risk on this one too, I guess, or some stress. Is this?
and push yourself.
Yeah, is this?
Oh, I would
Risky?
also like
Desperate?
This is risky because this is what our engagement was like, right? Because you're starting off in a risky position. This guy already doesn't trust you. You basically get the sense that he's gonna kind of shut down any questioning you have, and
Yeah. Okay, so standard effect, 1 extra bonus die.
I wanted to do one other thing though. I wanted to introduce us to Devil's Bargains.
Wrong campaign, John.
What? No. So, Devil's Bargains are something that anybody in the group can actually like offer up. But the GM is one to commonly try and offer it, or you can kind of request and see if there's a Devil's Bargain. But it's basically a way to have some sort of like get an extra dice in exchange for some sort of cost. So I, for instance, will offer you a Devil's Bargain here that you can take an extra dice.
We should have a gambit as well, by the way.
Oh, you do have gambits. Yeah, you have 2 gambits that you can spend. So your goal here is to try to get information from the guild guy, the tracker. So I think it's basically going to be take some extra heat. Basically, this guy's going to remember you, kind of like peppering him with questions, which is just going to kind of like keep your ship in his mind and kind of like spread from here. So some extra heat coming from the Guild of Engineers specifically.
I mean, we got no heat from the last thing. I don't think
Yeah.
that's such a bad thing.
Mhm.
Can I take the stress and the Devil's Bargain?
Yeah, you can do both. And pushing yourself, you can add a die or push your effect to have like greater effect in a situation.
Okay.
So you can do either or with pushing yourself. Devil's Bargain is always just like a simple +1 dice.
Okay. So this was a sway, you said?
Yes.
Let's do risky. What's above standard? Great.
Yeah, great effect.
So I'll push myself for a great effect.
Okay.
And then I'll take the Devil's Bargain. I don't think the heat's a big deal right now, honestly.
Cool.
Okay. Well, let's roll. Oh, baby.
I love the idea of a Devil's Bargain because it's sometimes the GM just opening up his trench coat and saying, "Hey kid, want some D6?"
Would you like this for your roll?
Okay.
What do
So
you
yeah,
want?
he just kind of is just like he says, look, the tracker pinpoints it to your ship. All right, that's it's as specific as we can get, unfortunately, with this particular one.
Oh,
But there's no doubt that it's on board your ship.
It's interesting that the guild still hasn't been able to play such specific trackers, but I mean the technology just isn't there, I'm sure.
It has to do with the tech built into the cargo. All right. So, are you going to comply, or are we going to have an issue?
Well, of course we're going to comply. In what world would we ever stand up against the guild?
Quietly over the comms. Hey,
I,
boss, am I?
I wink at Liv and just give her a.
Sure. Okay. So, Liv, you're
I-
gonna. Oh yeah.
I was going to say before we do this, can't we just like shove her? Do we have any smuggling departments on board?
You are not. This
There's no
is
way,
the wrong ship
because
for the smuggling
Smuggler
departments.
is a thing. That's right.
Yeah, I mean that is. I don't know if that's an upgrade specifically for the Starfinder, which is the smuggling crew, or if it's something you can get as a ship
Does it
upgrade.
take a cred? Because I'll do that.
No, it's more than a credit. It'd be like a whole ship upgrade, basically,
Oh, baby.
Okay.
which is like 6 cred.
Well, if we can't hide it, then never mind. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I've now dumped that responsibility on Liv, so.
Yeah, he gave me the signal. I'm flipping the switches. I am giving us all the power.
Okay.
Are you gonna let the pilot know?
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
we're having. You got. It just.
God.
Yeah, and this is something I think the pilot, if you wanted to, you'd be able to help her on this, since you'd be kind of like in control of like what the
Wish I finished that NOS system now.
Yeah, so this is not good. The NOS system would be something that you've built to specifically the ship is meant to handle it. So there's some risk in this.
So I am taking the power from everything else. Everyone hold on to something.
And I'm gonna spend a gambit to do this as well.
Oh well, it's
So
you can
I'm
help.
going to spend a gambit to do this.
Okay.
I'm just helping.
Right back.
Yeah. So if you want, you can spend a stress to help in this situation, or hold on. This might be a setup action.
Does my ace pilot in this at all? Says, oh no, that's only to resist consequences of piloting.
Give me 1 sec. Sorry, it's been a while since I've. There are some special roles that are not necessarily just straight up like action roles. There are ways you can basically do setup actions for other people. So maybe this is a setup action for the pilot to be able to then
Punch it.
Yeah, give me 1 sec though, because I don't really see any rules on that. My only like complaint, I will say, with Scum and Villainy is that it is not nearly as like elegantly laid out as the Blades in the Dark. But
did we get another gambit from Albin's 6 risky roll?
Oh,
Add
yeah.
a gambit to your crew when you roll a 6 on a risky action.
Yeah, as long as you don't spend a gambit on it. So
definitely,
your crew's up to 3 gambits.
I mean, I'm going to use it to spend it. That means we just have another gambit. So.
Yeah, give me 1 sec here.
I will also be right back. I gotta go prep a bottle.
Okay.
Should we take
I
a
don't
quick
want to-
break then?
I'm a baby.
Well, I guess we do have a couple people. Yeah, let's take a short break here.
Okay, short break while we figure this out. Technical difficulties. Or something. And we're back. Hello.
Thank you for your patience, everyone. Yeah, coming from a new system to like from D&D and haven't played this in a while, it takes a little while to dust the cobwebs off on some of those old rules. So, we are going to do a couple of actions here, but we are going to start out. I'm going to put on this music. And I'm going to have our mechanic, Liv, do a setup action here to try and break free from this this guild tractor beam.
Yep. So I would say I am kind of rigging the ship to be able to make it go faster.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Just over the comms. Yeah. Everybody, hold on to something. And I'm shutting everything off and putting all the power to the thrusters.
Oh, I'm sorry. The call. It's the signal's very. We have to. Go.
If I take 2 stress, I can make this a great effect.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
You can add a dice.
And I'm already getting a die added, right? Someone else was help. Will, you're helping me?
Well, he
I don't know
can,
if I can help.
but you're setting him up for his action basically.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll
instead,
just I'll do the never mind standard.
This is almost too
Give myself a
intense.
die.
All right.
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh, a crit! Our first crit.
Baby, first
Okay.
critical.
Oh,
wow.
but this
Wow.
doesn't give me my
That
construct
means we get another gambit,
speak.
by the way.
Oh, I didn't even use the gambit. I gave myself stress.
Okay.
Well,
then
now
yeah.
we have 4 gambits, by the way.
Hell yeah! Make sure we use them.
Does the ship talk to me at all? Does it give me like a bitch? What are you doing? As I do this for my double crit or for my
You
double
tell me.
sixes.
What is the? Because you can actually like
Well, because
kind of talk to the ship in
it's
a way,
when
right?
I study them, and it's
Okay.
fixing or building a particular machine.
Okay.
And I'm just wondering if this is more of a like the ship yelling at me or backsassing me a little bit, like.
No, I think with a crit. I mean, is this? Do you talk to the ship for one?
I do. I'm just like, okay, baby, I'm sorry, I gotta do this to you, honey, but it's all right. This will be better for us in the long run.
Yeah, and you just get that like, it works almost like better than you expect, basically, right? The like hyperdrive just begins like glowing.
Oh, she listening to me. Okay.
And I see like maybe while you're sitting up in the pilot chair, Gabriel, you see just like all the like the power ratings begin like spiking. And you have this opportunity now to break free from this tractor beam. Do you want to give me a pilot roll?
Yeah, so this is what so tractor beams is basically a gravity field, or we're acting like it's a gravity field that is just centralized, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like pulling you in towards them.
Yeah, so how I want to break it is using the gravity field and the burst that she got. I want to try to take the engines and do like how you're supposed to escape from a wave or a current. So I'm going to do it upside. So I'm going to go parallel to it and just drive it straight down to get out of it.
Okay. Yeah, and
Where-
so with her crit, and there's like, oh, hold on a sec, actually. Because with a critical, you do it with increased effect and add a gambit if you haven't spent one on this roll. Oh, so you add, because you got a critical, you actually added 2 gambits to the pool.
Oh, 2 gambits? I thought it was just 1.
Oh,
That-
good.
I need to roll better more often.
Where's the fun?
I know.
Okay, so we have
Dice tell a
5
story.
gambits. We have 5 gambits.
Oh, maybe I'm reading that wrong, actually. But
I think it's if they did if they got a critical and used a gambit, it would just kind of cancel out. Is what I think.
Okay.
It's saying.
yeah. I think you're right. Like it's just saying like 2 different things. Okay.
Yeah.
So just be the 1 gambit.
Okay,
But
I'll do that.
you do
So
have great
how-
You do have great effect starting out. Yeah, so helm roll.
I do.
Because she set you because she crit and has set you up for this
I'm
over
assuming
the
it's
top
still a
blast
risky
speed.
move. A risky move.
Yes.
Okay. This is a risky, great effect. I will be using a gambit dice, so I just get 1 bonus dice, right? Or do I get 2 because she helped?
No, unless she actually does the assist. It's found out reading the book. It's called assisting, but unless she takes the assist thing and takes a stress to add a dice, that's a whole separate thing.
So
But
I have I'll have 3 dice on this. Cool. Success.
Oh yeah.
with great effect too. So yeah, we see this there's this moment. We see the guild ship, which is much larger than the Cerberus generally. And we see maybe this kind of yellowish force field type thing that's kind of surrounding the ship. All of a sudden, we see it kind of tilt horizontally, like you said, or vertically, and just drop straight down, breaking from the tractor beam. Yeah, just this one sudden burst of speed before the ship begins moving at its normal speed. What do you guys do?
How big is the ship following us? In comparison to ours,
It's about 3 times as big as your ship size wise.
3 times. Okay.
Yeah.
It's bad. I'm going to do a lot of Star Wars comparisons here because this is where my brain is at. So
Sure.
I apologize. What I'm going to do is punch that down, and I'm going to put in a. Do I know of anything in this technology world that can track hyperspace jumps?
Well, so generally when you're traveling in system, you're traveling along what are called way lines, which kind of really are just maps for your hyperdrive, making you move faster through space. The only time you actually do hyperdrive jumps is going through a warp gate to another system or something like that.
Through the portal, through the warp portals. Okay.
Yeah. So if you
where do I know where the closest one to me is?
Yeah, I mean, there's one. It would take you off route, obviously, from going to Baptima, but there is the Rin Holt gate. You could take a detour off that way.
Okay. Any debris fields around me in the vicinity that I know of?
Let's do a fortune roll and find out.
Junk, asteroid, anything like that.
The goal being finding something to hide behind or
travel through something that a smaller ship would have an easier time traveling through.
So, you don't see necessarily any junk on your main path here, but I will say you're kind of looking at your star maps, as it were, and you see you can detect a way line that is off the main path. You don't have a map for it, and you can kind of see an asteroid field kind of down this little way line.
I'm gonna punch it straight there. That's the only way to get around.
Okay.
I'm gonna go. Actually, first I'm gonna go on the comm systems and say, "Hey guys, I think I'm gonna go straight toward this asteroid field because I think this might be the only way that we can get out. If anybody has any better ideas, please let me know now. Otherwise, we're going." I punch it towards the asteroid field.
I'm just gonna put my hand on one of the things in the engine room. Just so sorry, baby girl. I'm gonna get you the good oil when we get back into.
Okay. So, the guild does ping back, trying to open communications. Albin, do you talk to them, or do you just kind of
We
now
lost
or just
control.
I'll leave it hanging for a second.
Cool. So their ship is faster than yours. So you kind of like, but you jettison off, like trying to lose them and make their way to this asteroid field before they can reach you. So I think another Reaper,
Another Reaper, yay!
Helm roll, or maybe a scramble. But I think Helm makes the most sense here, as you try to make it to this asteroid belt, kind of outmaneuvering them long enough to make it there, to kind of give yourself some breathing room.
Cool.
Otherwise, they are going to, either catch back up with you with their tractor beam, or maybe use some other weapons that they have on the ship. So, I think this is going to be, you guys are taking off. You've rolled well, so I don't want to say you're in a desperate. I was going to say you're still in like a risky position, right now. But I am going to say, starting out, you're going to be at limited effect to outrun them. So you can push yourself to get that to standard effect. Or if you have something else that raises your
Where did I make it to during that?
Well, we'll do another helm roll to.
Oh, okay. This is it, to see if I can get to the asteroid field before then.
Yeah. So,
I
mean, I will say with limited effect, you're gonna like fall short.
I'll
even
push
on
myself.
a 6 self. So
okay, I'll push myself to do both.
All right.
And I'll assist. I'll spend a stress to give an extra die.
Okay. How are you assisting with this one?
By giving unsolicited advice. Now, make sure that you're dodging and weaving. We're very small, they're very big. If we go back and forth, they can't hit us and they can't catch us.
I'm going to also spend a stress to help.
I'm just going, yeah, got it.
I'm also going to spend a stress to help and just basically these are
also,
the levels. Let me know what you need.
Only one person may assist on a roll.
Just kidding.
I was gonna say that now. Also, I can be like, just keep hanging up, like mashing the do not answer the comm thing. It's like, listen, I can only hang up on them for so long before they start thinking that it's actually something that we're doing. It's
trying to confuse the other crew. With
communications.
I think that's a little. I think that's a little gone, Alvin. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. I think they know.
All right, yeah. If you want to take a stress, you can take another die from so push yourself to raise the effect. And then a +1 dice from Albin assisting you. Do I have a devil's bargain for you?
Do you?
Okay. A devil's bargain I will offer here is that we start a clock that the guild is basically going to start using
lethal force.
Yeah, lethal force against you. This is like a little 4 o'clock basically, and we'll go ahead and tick that clock with one.
I think that's a great one because I think that's going to happen anyway. So I might as well get the bonus dice now.
Sure.
So I got 2 bonus dice and 2 helm dice.
Famous last words.
Yep.
Hey, 6. We'll take it.
Nice. Oh yeah, and gambits are also a thing.
Oh, yeah.
I've spent 2 gambits already, I think.
Well, you get another one.
Yeah, get one for this.
Oh, because it's
6 on a risky.
or a critical. So yeah.
We've been rolling very well.
All right.
Wait, I should have 2 gambits then.
We started with 2. We would have gained.
You got
4
up to 4.
total.
No, I used a gambit last time, which would have canceled it out. So we still have 4 gambits.
Cool. All right. So. Yeah. There we go. I realized that even though I put on the name things, you guys don't actually see the names
Yeah,
on the
we
plate
can't
unless
see
I
what
go in.
the...
Mm-hmm.
Boo on that.
Oh, hell yeah.
Wait, what
So
happened? I don't see.
I see the one.
Yeah, I'm working on some of the others. So yeah, you're gonna make it to the asteroid field. And kind of give yourself some breathing room because you're kind of like cut into a space where their larger ship can't as easily maneuver into. Do you want to tell me what that looks like? Like, how is it that you managed to evade them so well? Is this like using the engine machinery really like efficiently and effectively, or are you kind of like they're trying to get you with the tractor beam, but you're like doing all these like swerves and like barrel rolls and stuff
Yeah,
around them?
it's mostly adversely like doing a lot of pump fakes at them, going, acting like making it seem like I'm taking a certain trajectory and then shifting, usually pretty constantly. Um, there's it's hard because there's not like a lot of maneuvers you can do in space, so that's the hard part. But mostly, yeah. So avoiding the tractor beam is really where I'm going, because I think if I still got 4 ticks left until I start using lethal force, that's what I would be doing. So just avoiding the tractor beam, knowing where the trajectory of that would be, and then also pumping the engines at certain times to make sure that my speed is maintained just at those right times.
Cool. So the lethal force it's a 4 o'clock. We're taking it once just as part of the devil's bargain. Because you got a 6, it's only going up like 1 instead of like the 3 more it would go up if you had gotten like a failure. So it's kind of like kind of the reverse as if you were trying to like fill a clock. It's instead of like 1, 2, or 3. Anyway, yeah. So there's 2 ticks right now on the lethal force clock. So yeah, but you guys, so you dive into this like asteroid field, and we see like the guild ship kind of like hover, turning around. Just kind of like hovering on the outskirts here, giving you some time to breathe. We cut back to you guys on the ship, so you're now in the middle of this asteroid field. They don't seem to like be willing or urgently seeking to engage you inside this right now, but they are kind of like blocking the path to the main route, the mapped route to where you're going. What do you guys want to do?
Is that other way line still there, just not mapped?
Yeah, so there's a way line like path that you can ride the ship like through this asteroid belt and away from these people and not have to worry about them anymore, but you're going into unmapped territory, which means you're not sure necessarily where you'll end up or how safe it is.
I think I'm going to start doing it.
Can I use one of my load to have grabbed maps and charts from the Pasha of some of these lesser known waylanes?
Sure. Maps and charts, just one of your lists. One of your speaker ones.
It's one of my speaker ones on the list.
I just realized my mic had been up when I asked. I'd like to find out if there's a way I can remove the tracking chip from her.
Yeah, I was gonna make my way to her to do something along the same lines, if not some space magic.
Yeah, lots of stuff.
Yeah. Maybe stick it on the arm that we keep claiming was her.
Oh, the space lock.
Does everybody have maps and charts?
Is that just a thing that people have?
I have it.
Yeah, it's a common item, so I was just gonna look at what that looks like. Charts. So I know for like, well, Yeah, it's a special ability for the Starfinder for you to have like these kind of like deep space wayline maps.
Mhm.
So just to be able to check off inventory seems to be, but we could totally do like a flashback because this could be like an acquiring asset or something like that, right?
Sure,
Where,
yeah.
But that would cost you like a credit to acquire or to get that extra downtime action, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd be willing to spend the credit on it.
All right, cool. So yeah, we get this like this moment, right, where you're kind of like in this in the asteroid belt, and maybe this is something you guys planned for. So we flash back I wouldn't say it's like this moment where everybody's like leaving the Pasha and you're just like, oh wait, and kind of like turn around by yourself to go like talk to her.
Mhm.
Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, that's perfect.
And yeah, so we cut back to this this club, right?
Mhm.
And she's getting tattooed and she's like, oh fuck, what voice did I do for her? I should have read something down for that. But yeah, she's like, oh yeah, I remember. What is it you want?
You know, if we continue to have a business relationship, we may need to take some more unsavory routes through space. I was wondering if you had anything you could lend to me, maps or charts, perhaps.
I'm guessing you don't want the legal, normal charts, huh?
Well, we have all of those.
We could make a trade of some sort. Yes, let's do the actual acquire assets roll to see
Sure.
like how well these how good these charts are, basically.
What do I do for that one? Sorry? It's
in
in reference to, right?
yeah.
Let's see here.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's just a flat D6, it looks like.
I totally forgot your thing. That's how you think that too.
Oh, crew quality.
Yeah, so it's a crew quality. There's only quality assets. Yeah, so just be crew quality.
Okay.
Nice.
Take the lowest. That's still 5. Yeah, cool. So we flash back, and is this like some data that we see you kind of like just pull up on like the little navigation screen or something, or is this like?
Yeah, no, it's like I have this like USB drive that I just slipped in my pocket and completely forgot about, and I just run up to the nav deck and I look at Gabriel and I'm like, we have something perfect for this. I just slot it straight in.
Yeah. So the maps begin filling out. And I think with that, you guys fly off to safety,
Hell yeah.
leaving these guys behind. So yeah, I think the next scene we kind of like see you guys flying off away with the guild ship just kind of like circling on the other side of the asteroid belt, none the wiser. And the next scene we see is the planet Baptima. Yeah, as your ship begins flying down to land. And then I imagine that the next scene is kind of like the ship opening up. We see like what looks like a massive junkyard that goes on for miles and miles. There's just these huge piles of like metal shreds, old machinery, a lot of it rusted out. You also see kind of like on the other side, like right on the outside, there's just these huge, massive pits that have been like dug out. where all the mining has been. And yeah, there's this group of Urbots kind of just standing at the front of this, like in between this path that runs into the junkyard. And maybe as you guys are landing, we see them like kind of cresting this hill of junk with like the sunlight at their back as they come down. And yeah, let me pull up that faction real quick. And yeah, as you kind of like, I imagine you guys all coming out and you feel free to correct me any of my narrative when I'm bringing you guys into it, but kind of like coming out of the ship with Lasher in tow. And
Were we able to remove the tracking chip, or?
oh yeah. That's sorry, I forgot about that. Go ahead and give me just like a final rig roll here.
Oh, thank God it's rig.
If they were to do that, I was hoping to do that, to jettison that out in the asteroid field, if they can do that before we leave.
Okay,
So, you know.
for sure.
Am I gonna get any help on this?
Yeah, I was gonna help.
Okay.
You spend 1 stress, add a dice.
Is this still in a risky situation?
Yeah, the risk being that they, might find you guys later, or
I'm also spending a gambit.
okay, yeah, because you guys got plenty. Good plan. Cool. Yeah.
Keep the gambit.
You kind of do like a scan, find the find this tracking device.
Yeah, just gonna stick it onto the arm that we were faking as hers and just.
Jettison it all. Yeah, so as you guys are like blasting away from the asteroid, we just see that little like arm like floating out in space.
Sorry, Wipe. I know you were very close to that arm.
It was like a brother to me.
You sound like a speak and spell.
Trying new voices. I was not strapped in and it hit my head pretty hard when we went from no G to 18G really quickly.
Also kind of like Kermit.
If I don't have the robot inflection, I kind of go into a little bit of a Kermit kind of thing.
That's
I
exactly
gotta watch that one. And if I let it go a little lower, it'll be a little bit more like Ray Romano.
I can't.
I'll play with it. I'm still playing with it.
That's a little bit Steve Brule.
I love it.
So, yeah, there's one Urbot is kind of like at the front is this massive, like 15-foot tall, like 6-foot wide Urbot that just kind of like trudges forward. Yeah, it looks like it's you see it's got like kind of like moss and stuff growing from certain like parts of it. And yeah, it kind of like approaches and says its voice, it doesn't have like a mouth that moves, but has like a voice box, maybe similar to Wipes. But yeah, it says
what's it sound like?
Probably
says,
more sophisticated.
Like that?
Crew of the Cerberus?
Oh, not the voice I was expecting.
Yes, we are indeed.
Lasher moves as if to like looks to you guys almost for like permission, but like looks as if she wants to like move across.
I mean, like, go on,
Kind of
Tim.
give her like a
Yeah, she kind of like runs off, and the larger Urbot like kind of like watches her and then turns back to you and is like, "You have done us a great service. We will ensure that you have payment in kind." And it kind of like looks down to one of the other Urbots that you see kind of like move forward and open up like its body. And you just see like these like shiny ingots inside. And And the front robot is like, it's not much, but it's a few cred worth of value for your people.
Well, I suppose let's set to figuring out how much this is all worth then.
You, good sir, turning towards you specifically, Wipe.
Mm-hmm.
Are you of a sound mind? Are you working for these people?
I have been contracted. I don't think I actually have a title.
What?
I am
Your
part-
favorite little robot boy, you are.
Part of
he's
the crew.
Yeah, he's working with us more than for us.
He's a friend of the crew. He's a member of the crew.
Not quite slavery, not quite indentured servitude.
We pay you. Don't be like this.
Well, as long as you are content, you are always welcome here, my friend. He seems to kind of run those sentences together, but he's like, the one bot just kind of unloads the ingots, and I will say there's another actually I'm going to say it's 6 cred.
Ooh.
Dude, wait, we
and,
got so
alright,
much
geez.
more than if we just sent her off with them.
Yeah, you always make more money by lying and stealing. Man. Come on.
Sorry, I should know by now.
And they move to turn around and walk away, and I think we will end the session there.
Hell yeah.
I don't imagine my servos feel anything from their whole vibe of this planet. Because this is technically the conclave, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to play this because I'm amnesiac. Stuff puts so much more work on you, but everyone's building.
No, I mean it's really because this is a much more narrative system. It's going to be on you. You tell
Yeah.
me. Does your character remember anything? Does this seem familiar?
Is it like deja vu?
Yeah, based on the description of Baptima, something about the just terribly broken down husk of cities here and there, mining operations here and there, just a dust trap, metal and dust. Something about having his air filters breathe that in, wake something from wipes and wipes and wipes ago of being here and doing something for some sort of cause.
Yeah. I imagine there's this moment when everybody's kind of loading up on the ship where we just see a wipe kind of hanging back a minute and just kind of peering back at the Urbots walking over the hill.
Watching them crest the hill.
Love it. All right. And
Brother. You did not recognize me.
with that, we are done. We'll pick up next session with more downtime and our crew figuring out what they're going to do for their next job.
And what to do with all this heat?
This is so cool. I love this.
All this cred, all this heat.
I love this system.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so you guys, if you want, you can take another cred for each of you and add 2 cred to the ship itself.
How much cred does it take to upgrade the ship?
The ship upgrades usually with advancements, which is actually what we'll do now because it's a good thing. So the crew, the ship takes its own XP, so it can advance and get parts that way. You can also spend 6 cred to get a ship module, but there might be other. You have to find some place to actually get that module and get it installed.
Is there a list of ship upgrades and things that are viable?
Yeah, so there's
Ship mode. There is, yeah.
There's ship modules, which are a specific thing that you can buy but there's also like ship gear or crew gear or
Alien pet.
there's specific upgrades from the Cerberus itself. Ooh, excuse me. So to start off with like XP stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and give the Cerberus just like 3 from last session.
Okay.
And then we need to enter our crew specific way to earn XP, which is yo Cerberus, where are you at? Yeah, so the Cerberus is, I think, is completing a successful bounty job. Struggling. When you play the crew of the Cerberus, you earn XP when you execute a successful extraction or capture of a bounty. I mean, technically, you did both.
Hell yeah.
So, is a module crew / ship upgrade underneath that, like the auxiliary ship gear training?
Yeah, so there's like there's a ship modules section in the book on page like 118. Those are like a little. The auxiliary modules are listed there with like the AI module and stuff, but a lot of those are not like the specific hull modules or engine modules or weapon modules or comms modules. Those are not listed on the sheet where you'd have to look at the book for those. Those are things we write in. So yeah, I'm going to give the crew. I would say you've done 2 of those. We'll just do this. Execute successful extraction. All right. So yeah, 2 XP for that. Contend with challenges above your current station.
I mean,
We did run away from a big nasty ship.
Yeah, you definitely get an XP for that. Bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one. Yeah, you did that.
Did that with the Pasha.
Yeah.
The Urbots like us.
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, and probably got probably bolstered that reputation of being kind of strange because you were a bounty hunting crew that actually like brought this Urbot there, and they now know you like have an equal Urbot member of your crew kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which actually leads us to a playbook advancement for the
level up.
Yeah.
For all of us?
No, it's for it's sort of.
Level
It's
this.
everybody has the abilities from the Cerberus sheet, right? So you can choose the way the crew advancement works. Is you can choose one of either buffing up a system between your engines, comms, hull, or weapons. Systems allow you to actually put in those system-specific modules. You have to have the systems that can support them. So you'll see, like right now, you have an engines that's a system 1, you have comms that's system 2, weapons at system 1, and you have no like hull system, so you couldn't install any of the hull modules until you upgraded one of those. So you could and just say we're all looking at the same thing. Yeah, so you can do that, or you can choose one of the playbook special abilities, which is the list there on the right with licensed being the top one that you guys already have. You can choose one of the other ones, or you can choose 2 of the kind of crew ship upgrades, which could include like an auxiliary module, something from the crew gear list or the ship gear list, or something that's one of the like the tracers and personal vehicles and stuff that's specifically like the Cerberus specific stuff.
I would.
We technically have a personal vehicle, don't we?
You have a single personal vehicle.
I mean-
The personal vehicles would be like one for
Yeah,
like
one for
each of
each
you.
of us. Yeah.
and that could look like that could be something like hover bikes, but that could also be something like like little X-wings that you guys can like go out and
Oh.
like little flying things. Hold on, where's the Cerberus?
I like that. I also would like some shields if we're going to keep running away from things like that.
Great.
Shields is a good choice.
Yeah, so the personal vehicles for the Cerberus says your crew has a few, perhaps 1 per crew member, sleek single-seater craft that can fold up tight enough to fit into a reasonable parking space. Limited fuel, but can break atmo, can carry basic weapons, though they can't seriously damage anything freighter-sized or larger. You may want a landing bay on your ship. It costs 2 upgrades to unlock this instead of the usual one. So, and you can choose, like, you get 2 upgrades for a license. So, special ability system upgrade, or 2 of some sort of cruise ship upgrade or module.
Is an action rating a pip?
Yes.
Deadly's pretty good too.
Deadly is a good one.
Ooh, play both sides is also very good.
It's a good way to like stack up a lot of good crew contacts.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Have to do a lot of laying low though.
I get an extra laying low passively as a speaker. But you have to be in a different system to lay low, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I think on the trail fits the things that we've been doing currently. We have a lot of long-term projects going.
Yeah, but it's only to track bounties that have gone to ground.
Oh.
I'm not
Otherwise, I would agree.
I'm not opposed to play both sides.
I like
play both sides seems
sides.
strong.
What are the things that we can add to the engines too?
So you'd have to upgrade the systems for the engines before you'd be able to add any modules.
Oh,
so
it's
modules,
like FTL. I see.
Yeah.
There's different gifts. You spend them.
But the types of engine modules that you could get if you did a system upgrade, you could then add afterburners, which dumps raw fuel into the engines for a short burst of speed. So this would be like you're kind of creating a one-time use of that pretty easily. The afterburners would be like a permanent thing. Well, actually, maybe in your long-term project could even be something you guys use more than often. But the afterburners would actually increase the rating roll for your whenever you're doing like. Oh, so that was actually I kind of forgot that's a thing. So if you're doing like a chase or something like that, for instance, sometimes if it's down to just like which ship is faster, we might do an engine roll where we do, instead of rolling like your crew quality, we roll like the system quality of the engines versus their system quality of their engines. So if you had like afterburners, that would give you guys a higher rating for that. There's also a cloaking device, or a gravitic field generator, which is pretty much what they are using. Gives you a tracking or like a way to grapple other ships and stuff like that.
I would also like that. I don't know. I feel like if we're going to keep having to run from things, which now that we've ran from one thing, we're going to be found and have to run from other things. I like play both sides as well.
I just feel like for what we're doing, play both sides is better because hopefully we don't get in too many actual fights, like space fights, you know?
Well, yeah, hopefully, but I think play both sides would be pretty good. I don't know if like making that Urbot community a contact would be great.
I mean,
in terms of like seeing what we've already done.
Oh yeah, let me add a faction sheet.
And we have to add heat every time we do that.
Yeah, but we get -2 heat automatically as a per downtime anyway.
What? Is our license going to stick around now that we're like running from the guild?
We're not licensed to the guild.
We take -2 heat on
legitimate bounty hunting jobs. So yeah, for dropping her off, this is you might not take -2 heat for this particular job.
Sure.
Legit.
But we do sort of have a buffer at least.
The crew/ship upgrades. What's hard knocks? Does that mean for every gambit earned you get +1 gambit?
You just start with 3.
Let's see. Yeah. So yeah, you just start a job with 3 instead of the normal 2.
I see. I didn't see that reset to 2. Gotcha. Oh boy, yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not opposed to shields still either.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not.
shields are
Yeah.
Shields or engines, yeah.
Can you get one level of shields, and then one level of something else?
I mean, shields is 1 level.
It has 2 pips though, because it's like shields and heavy shields.
Your shields come back, right?
No,
It's not like a one thing done.
What
right?
are you? What
underneath
are you
hull.
Oh, for
shields.
auxiliary ones.
For auxiliary, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it costs 2 to get that.
Okay.
So which you get 2 upgrade. Like if you do the upgrades instead of like an ability or system upgrade, you get 2 of those. So you could do shields with this one upgrade. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
I think shield is just a very good precaution in case like they started using lethal weapons and I had to take quote unquote 2 rounds to get to where we were going. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because we rolled a lot of 6s this time, and I'm not going to assume that's going to happen.
You're a smart man.
We rolled a lot 6.
All right.
All right, I'm probably actually gonna shut the stream off while we do this.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
that. I think we're done streaming for the night. We're just gonna be doing
Yeah.
some behind the scenes stuff.
All right. Well, bye. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Bye.